So you can catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan scratch it. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it.
What you know about classic music?
Hey, what's up, everybody? And I am in extreme pain right now because I was just sitting on my feet and I got massive Charlie horses. And of course, they didn't fully take effect until the intro and everything started. So I'm in so right now. Of course, I've all the times, and I have to get up and walk it off, but I can't because I'm doing a video.
Well, I mean, you can. Yeah, you can. I'm not fucking forcing you to fucking... I'm not forcing you to... Like, we can always just restart it.
It's already a thing now. We gotta just keep going with this.
Well, you can at least fucking walk around. Jesus Christ.
I don't know why I did this to myself. This was just...
Why
I don't know why I did...
All right.
I don't know. Well,
are you good?
I think I'm good now.
That's making the fucking
I am not doing that again. So.
Well, there you go. Why were you sitting on your fucking feet in the first place?
I didn't think that I would feel it for a while. I thought it would. I didn't.
That's not how it works. What do you mean?
Usually I sit like that for a while and nothing happens, but this time it just wasn't happening.
Bro, you're not supposed to sit like that, though. Like, that's usually how it happens, especially if you do it for, like, a long period of time.
I don't know, I wasn't thinking. I didn't think this would happen.
What the fuck? What did that show? Hi, everybody! It's Owen Finch and James Seaver. And today, we're going to be talking about how Owen got himself a Charlie horse
two
of them. I'm sorry. So you're Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
you broke both your quads, except in this case you got Charlie horses in both your quads.
At least I didn't get mad. At least I didn't get mad like Vince did. So
no, you were close though. You were close. You were gonna get mad. Close. You were about to hit the fucking end of the bed. You were getting mad. I can see it. The fuck? What an intro this is. Jesus Christ. Hi. This is Survivor Series 2003.
Let's be real. This is probably the second best intro.
Probably.
The second best intro I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, honestly, you can't forget it. You really can't forget it, huh?
I think Mike's gonna have some words with me when you tell him about this.
I will make sure. Him and I will never let you live this down. It's not gonna happen. No way. Like, I'm gonna send this to him the minute it's on the air tomorrow. I'm gonna make sure, like, guess what Owen did? Here it is. I'm gonna send it to the group chat.
I feel like the only other thing that tops it, I don't think you've seen this looking, when Adam tries to do the Chris Jericho pose and he turns around and hits his knee onto the table.
That is pretty good. No, yo, that was just as good as fucking Steve fucking rolling into the table. Like, that's on that level of crazy.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But anyhow, so now that we've recomposed ourselves, we're doing the Retro Wrestling Review Series for Survivor Series 2003. This is going to be a treat because
it's goddamn right.
You picked this show, and I picked the next one, which is a 10-year perspective, 2013. Check the next video, because that's going to definitely be a 10-year perspective.
Oh, you don't even know the half of it, but we ain't talking about that right now, mainly because I want to save my blood pressure.
So, typically, I like to have the guests say why they, well, you're a co-host, but I like to have them say why they picked the retro they picked. What made you pick Survivor Series 2003?
Well, there's a number of reasons why I picked this, but the if I had to break it down, the main reason I picked Survivor Series 2003 is because it's the coolest set in Day of Reckoning.
It is.
That's it.
Yeah, well, there you go.
You know, well, I mean, and plus, I've always heard a lot about this show. I've always heard, like, you know, I don't know if I've ever actually seen this.
So I've seen this show, I think, twice. I actually tried to do a retro for it. This is when I was doing my own stuff. It was like my 400th video, but of course, technology did not want to work for me. This was back before I pre-watched every video, so you can't even hear me after 4 minutes.
Oh no! That early type of YouTube fucking mistake. Oh, I've been there, brother. That's happened, but in takes here, even with all this fucking fancy editing shit. I've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't feel too bad.
I learned the hard way that day that always make sure you can hear your audio is and I've had to learn that lesson's been very well learned. So because I've had a lot of instances where that's happened. So
yeah, I feel
which is why you record the stuff now pretty much.
Yep.
So
which is fine. Which is fine. I like recording this stuff. That shit's actually fun to record.
So yeah, it was my 400. That I could have just redone the video, but what happened was I already done other videos like after that. So I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna leave it. You know.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there was no point. There was no point at that time.
So,
and plus, we're doing it better now when you have friends you can review.
But if you want to hear what I thought of this show for 4 minutes at the time, you can go watch that video for 4 minutes and then just leave. So, there you go.
Yeah, what a great show. Why do you still have that up? Just delete it at this point.
Well, now it will mess up my video count and that and all that type of stuff.
Oh my god. Okay, well at least unlist it.
Nah, it's already out there. You know, so it's
alright. Well, alright. Fair enough.
It's been out there longer than CM Punk left WWE. No, actually a little after CM Punk left WWE. So.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so we're doing Survivor Series 03. Typically, I like to do all this type of trivia stuff, but you're just taking all the fun out of this retro because you ain't prepared for that type of stuff. So
Was I prepared? Oh boy, I went OSW style, aka Mike style for this little shit. Yeah. So
thanks a lot. Taking no trivia today.
No trivia today. No, I got all of it ready to go. So, ladies and gentlemen. The WWE Survivor Series of 2003 took place at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. The show did approximately 450,000 buys, up more than 32% from 1 year earlier, according to WhatCulture.com. So, this event was a little bit more than 28,000 buys from being the most bought Survivor Series ever. Incredibly, Survivor Series 1998 did 478,000 buys. So this did better than every other Attitude Era Survivor Series at that point.
Yeah.
And it was up from 32% from the first Ruthless Aggression Era Survivor Series era, which is fucking crazy. So
I know.
I guess it didn't really take off the brand split at that time. I think it's weird because I think a lot of people say that Ruthless Aggression Era was like the downfall of WWE. I think they forget that like for a period of time, like 03, like 02 was the rebuilding blocks, which was really fucking good. It's actually like some of my favorite time period in WWE. And then, well, at least on the SmackDown side, Reign of Terror and that. But, you know, they kept going. And then it kept getting bigger in 03 and in 04. They had like a pretty big resurgence in the lead up to Mania that year. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Mania card was stacked from like top to bottom, mostly. So there was like a lot of people really interested in WWE by that point. I think it was like a little last gasp of the Attitude Era still like showing. You know what I mean?
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that retro. Have to hype up to Mania next year. But 20. I mean, obviously back then it was different. But if you look at that card, like the stars at the WrestleMania 20 back then are like huge compared to now with everyone's career turned now.
Yeah.
Like
and,
honestly,
and it really sucks because like it really should be a lot better than what it is now. But Vince just developed a phobia ever since 2 specific fucking people left, and you know, people wrongly fucking wrong them. But like at the end of the day, you gotta fucking think of this like you're a fucking commodity if you're an individual. Like, Brock knew his worth, Bill knew his worth at that time. They wanted to get the fuck out, and so they did. That has nothing to do with WWE, you know, not being able to make stars. That was just a convenient excuse.
Yeah.
That's all that was.
I mean, OTR Central's talked about it, like, John Cena wasn't a star for WWE. He was a prop for Vince, pretty much. That's what he was. Like, if you think about it, John Cena could have been a star, like a long time ago. Like he's just now like becoming a star in Hollywood, where it's because of Vince. You could make an argument Vince affected John Cena's Hollywood.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. Because Cena couldn't really show what he could do until he finally left the shackles of the WWE handcuffs. That's really what it came down to. I mean, you could put that to, by the way, anybody on that roster in like the last 10, 15 years, 20 years. Dead serious.
It took CM Punk for Vince to finally let Cena take the shackles off, pretty much. Honestly, actually, even before, it took The Rock, actually, for Vince to get Cena to take the shackles off. But it was really Punk that got Cena to finally take them off, though.
Yeah, of course. By the way, do me a favor and just hang on 1 second, because, of course, as we're talking about Survivor Series and everything after that, I have to blow my fucking nose, so I gotta hit the pause button real quick. I'll be right back. Boy, that pause button really comes in handy when you need to do shit, huh?
It's not much of a pause button, though, if we mention the pause button, but considering the fact that this
listen, all retros are usually off the rails. That's the beauty of it. But yeah, the show did really well. Like, it was up 32% from 1 year earlier, which was the infamous SmackDown 6. Again, I think 2002 was more of a building stage to get back into popularity, and I think they did have a surge back up in popularity in late 03 to early 04.
Yeah. So actually,
and then they ruined it with JBL. Which, yeah.
Ironically, that. So let's talk about this show. There's a few trivia questions I can actually give you, so the fun's not completely ruined. Do you remember what the tagline was for this Survivor Series?
Survive.
It wasn't actually the tagline.
You could have fooled me with the opening package.
I know. It was actually a fall from grace.
Oh, damn it. That's right. Yeah, because Shane with the fucking poster. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And this is actually a trivia question because you actually did something with this a few years ago. When you like built your channel and everything like that. Not the Peacock version. What was the actual theme song for this paper?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Limp Bizkit, Build a Bridge. So for some reason, alright, Limp Bizkit loses the rights to Crack Addict. To which, by the way, here's an iCard. I'm making it work for myself, but it's very relevant to this. Is the Budmaster Stable Wars theme for episode 4 of the Project MEX remix series, okay? So we actually use this theme, not a single claim. They lose the rights to this song, but they still maintain the rights to Build a Bridge. Huh?
Yeah.
What happened here?
I will at least say, though, as generic as the theme song was, it wasn't as bad as the typical generic theme songs they like to throw in when they do these pay-per-views. This one was better than the ones that they typically do. But
it's still just pay the fucking fee, Vince.
I remember.
Fuck off.
We're gonna
you
talk
lazy
about it when
bitch.
We do it.
You have more than enough money too.
We're gonna talk about it when we do it too. When they show the hype package for the World Heavyweight Championship match, they completely cut like half the package because that's his song plays. They didn't even bother dubbing the generic theme song over it because it was that bad.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
But anyhow, now that we've gone through all of that stuff,
let's
actually start talking.
I actually have more notes on like the figures as well here. By the way,
sure.
after the buys, so the attendance was approximately, and this is like the actual attendance figures, 13,487. They say somewhere in the 15,000, which means over 150 comps they fucking accounted for. So it was actually 13,487 that paid tickets. So roughly a sellout there. Average ticket price is $34.95 with a total attendance figure of $471,370.65. Pay-per-view price accounting worldwide buys was at, in USD, 0.73, which means $73 was the average ticket price. Or the average pay-per-view price, because if you account for other worldwide areas. Which means WWE did a total of $616,438.36 in pay-per-view buys. Which means just by pay-per-views and ticket sales alone, WWE got a total of $1,087,000. $1,087,809.01. Exact price point. That's fucking crazy. That's $1 million gate, even in 2004 standards, because they thought those days were over. Like, there was a long period of time for whatever reason. This was a freakish fucking novelty that happened. Like, they got a $1 million gate here. When you really break it down, there's a lot on this pay-per-view. Like, building-wise. Probably why this pay-per-view did so well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's start talking about the show. Starting with the Sunday Night Heat match, I'll just kind of talk about it. I forgot to send you the match because I woke up so early. And
no, I saw it. I had to fucking look up a goddamn 50 pixel fucking potato quality on Daily Motion. Jesus Christ. But real quick, before you even get to that, I said this is home of the very best Survivor Series set of all time. Because this set actually has implications of what will happen later on in the night. You have the ambulance on one side of the arena and a buried alive set on the other, complete with a gravedigger. You will also recognize this set if you're a classic game enthusiast, especially with wrestling titles from WWE Day of Reckoning for the GameCube. So that's
there you go. So the match was for the Cruiserweight Championship. It was Tajiri defending against Jamie Noble. The reason for this match was Tajiri blew mist into Jamie Noble's girlfriend Nydia's face, so they ended up setting up this Cruiserweight Championship match, and actually other things that ends up happening later on in the year and stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see Jamie Noble as a babyface, because he never really worked babyface all that much, so it was pretty cool to see him. I don't even think he was really much of a babyface. I think this was just like a one-time thing, which was pretty cool. He starts off the match really aggressively, just really taking out Tajiri. Eventually, he just hits a wicked buzzsaw kick, like right to the ribs, and he just starts working over the rib cage of Jamie Noble. Eventually, he mounts a comeback. He's on the verge of winning the championship, but then Akio and Sakota run out, and Jamie Noble takes them out, and eventually he goes to go up to the top rope. But
well, keep in mind before that even happens, he gets him off the apron one more time, and then he actually hits his Tiger Driver finish and almost wins. And that actually got a great near fall reaction from the crowd. Like, they were ready for him to win. Like, it was surprising how many people were invested in Noble winning it.
And then there was actually something that happened that I've never seen before in a wrestling match. Is Tajiri goes to spit the mist, and he actually Jamie Noble actually blocks it. I've never seen that happen.
That
before
was
in a
such a
wrestling.
cool fucking thing, yeah. Like, that looked based. I think that might have been what it was. It was the fact that he blocked the miss, and the crowd just went apeshit because nobody had done that before. So it was really, really cool.
I don't think anyone's done that since, so it's
No.
something crazy. I'm surprised that was on the. That should have been on like the main pay-per-view. Gonna do.
I
something like
agree.
that.
The fact that this wasn't on the main pay-per-view actually pissed me off because, like, this is really good. And
By the way,
go
we
ahead.
should mention this. We talked about in the SummerSlam 03. The cruiserweights were kicked to the Sunday Night Heat show there too, if you remember too. By the way, so
Yep. Fuck me, dude. They never treated the light heavyweights or cruiserweights with any sort of fucking respect. The only time they did, I think, was Survivor Series 02. That's the only time they gave a fuck.
Survivor Series 2018, I would say, was like a one-time thing too.
Yeah,
with
well,
Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy got.
yeah, but even then, they put him on the dead spot in the fucking card. I mean,
I'm just happy
Christ.
I'm just happy that that's not the match that Enzo hijacked. So that's what I'm happy about.
Yeah, true.
But anyhow, eventually.
By the way, speaking of which, I know we're off topic, but that's what the fuck we do on this channel anyway half the time. Have you seen Enzo recently in MLW? He has gotten way better in the ring.
Oh really? I have to stop watching him.
Yeah, honestly, look up a few Enzo matches because he's like really fucking improved. It's actually scary how quickly he improved. I don't know where the fuck he's been training, but he's big time like. He's big time like heel over there, and he's really good at his job. Like he's actually a great worker now.
Is Simon Gosh still there?
I believe so. I'm not sure. Why?
That's a match they need to. That's a match they need to do. Simon Gosh, Enzo Amore, because there's so much history between them.
Yeah, that will never happen. Too many fucking egos. Honest to God. Anyway.
But anyhow, eventually though, Jamie Noble goes to hit some type of move off the top rope, but Sakota or Akio knock him off the top rope, and it leads to
yeah, what a wicked fucking buzzsaw kick right to the ribs, like anti-air buzzsaw kick, and then another one for good measure to get the win.
Yeah.
By the way, this went like fucking not even 4 minutes, or close to like 4.5 minutes, and
yeah.
Like, I even wrote this down. It's 2 3/4 star match, and the fact that it was even that, with how little they were given, was a testament to the Cruiserweight division back then.
I gave it 3 for that reason alone, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially, what bumped it up to 3 was blocking the green mist, just because it was something I'd never even seen before.
Yeah, and then hitting the Tiger Driver. It was a great false finish. That was the main reason I fucking bumped it up, yeah. Really good false finish. I just wish they went longer.
Yeah. And it was on the show. This honestly should have been on the show. There's no way they couldn't have fit this on the show.
I agree.
Obviously, following this, we've mentioned where Tajiri's been. We mentioned it in SummerSlam 03, actually.
Yep, go check that out. And also, as far as Jamie Noble's concerned, I don't know if we mentioned him, but current producer for WWE and breaking news, could be making a comeback to in-ring competition for WWE.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
As for Akio and Sakota, Akio wouldn't last much longer in this gimmick. When Tajiri lost the belt, he eventually got fired. Went to ROH for a bit. Came back in his second stint as Jimmy Wayne Yane. Was in the Power.
Oh, that's fucking right. They're not different people.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
You wouldn't believe.
You wouldn't believe it when you fucking see him do the whole redneck cowboy bullshit. Yo, and then, I ain't even gonna fucking lie. Could you imagine just getting fucking the America's Most Wanted, Bobby Roode, Austin, Wang Yang, and Hangman all in a fucking room just to drink beers? Probably with FTR too. That's a hodgepodge of what the fuck.
Yeah. Then afterwards, he ended up getting released again. Pretty much, he didn't get it released right away.
And now he runs Jimmy Wang Yang Party Bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other things is he was actually a producer for like not even that long in WWE last year, from September 2021 to December 2021. And his daughter was wrestling. She just recently got released. A bit ago. So. And Jimmy Wayne Yane's been wrestling in the Indies. As for Sakota, he would get released, I think, shortly after this as well. He wrestled in the Indies for a bit until like about 2008, 2007-ish. And then eventually he became he worked at a bar, just being he was pretty much a heavy at a bar and stuff like that. And I kid you not, I looked this up and I can't believe this. Last year in September, he passed away for unknown reasons, and it wasn't reported until few weeks later. Yeah,
no, that sucks because he's actually he actually had a lot of promise too. Yeah, that really stinks.
I think now this isn't fact, but I think this is probably what led to his death. He was one of those wrestlers back in 2015 with Christopher Nowinski and stuff that was suing for the concussion and stuff.
That might be. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
But again, don't quote me on that.
No,
don't quote me on that.
Fair enough, but I could totally see that. Yeah, God rest his soul, man. He was actually one of the shining beacons. I will say, this group was, and I don't know if we ever mentioned this. Do you know what this group was supposed to be called?
I don't really want to say because I have a feeling it's something.
I'll fucking say it. Ready? Vince's bright idea was to call this trio the Yakuza. Yeah. The name of the Japanese mafia, the fucking Yakuza. Oh, and by the way, because Vince didn't get his way, he threw a fucking hissy fit, and that's the reason why Jimmy Yang and the other guy got fucking released.
There you go.
That's the reason. Because he couldn't call them by the fucking actual Japanese mafia. You absolute man-child, you.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Dude, Tajiri had to, be fighting for months to the point where Regal, I think, had to step in and say, no, Vince, this is a bad idea. That's a bad Vince. It was bad because, Tajiri legitimately, was scared to go home if that passed through. Because if he went home, he was done. He was going to be executed on sight. If that ever passed. The Yakuza was no joke back then. They owned Pride. They owned fucking New Japan, a large part of New Japan, a lot of the fucking sports leagues in Japan. They were not to be fucked with back then.
Yeah.
You were beheaded if you fucked with the Yakuza. That's not,
For sure.
I don't know what the fuck was Vince thinking, and then to just fire them because he couldn't get his fucking way is just fucking absurd.
Yeah, that's not how you run a business.
Exhibit 7,208,000 of why Vince McMahon's a terrible fucking businessman and an absolute man-child.
Going to the actual show itself, we had the commentary team. We had 4 people, but only 2 at a time per match. We had the SmackDown team of Taz and Michael Cole. Also the Cruiserweight title match, because that was a SmackDown match. And we had the Raw commentary team of Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. We've talked before about where they're all are and stuff and what we think of them as commentators. Just go watch the SummerSlam 03 review.
Yep. Everybody's talked about there.
Yeah.
Real quick before we even get into the actual first match, I said the first thing I noticed right off the bat is the video production has immediately increased in value since WrestleMania 19, which was held in April of that same year. Everything feels a lot crisper and a lot cleaner. Every match feels like it's a big deal, and it's really a spectacle to behold. This has always been typical with WWE promo packages for many years, despite the quality dip over the last several years prior. They've only gotten better with time. That's what I wrote there.
I agree. We had the cold open.
And this is here's the Limp Bizkit mention. So Limp Bizkit wasn't able to maintain Crack Addict, but keep the rights to do whatever the hell they want with Build a Bridge, which was the theme song to this event. We have to settle for really crappy music dub network style.
In this case, Peacock style, but it was probably network style too. Yeah. Good, really good cold open though. If it had, Build a Bridge in it, it probably would have been much better. And it showed all basically featured
The
matches.
cold open was survive.
Yeah.
Are you ready to survive? Like, why they like whoever the fuck the voiceover dub back then was, like, man.
Yeah. He lasted a while.
He lasted a long time. Whoever he was, you have to survive.
Yeah.
Can you survive the night? Can you survive in in David and Goliath? Survive.
He was so good, yeah.
He's so good,
it showed all the featured matches that are going to be taking place on this show. Before I continue talking about it, let me go over the red announcers and the referees and stuff. The Spanish commentators were Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Savinovich. I love them. They're so good when I watch AAA because the English commentary team's so bad in my opinion. I listen to them when I do on Spanish commentary.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're watching a AAA event, you gotta listen with Hugo and Carlos, Betty. Like that's the way. Like, it's the same reason you don't watch. If you're an American, you do not watch football for the actual sport. You watch football to listen to the commentary. You're waiting for the goal, and then you go get it soon, go.
Not me, but other people will. So,
yeah.
I say that because when I buy it with Fight TV, you have no choice but to listen to the English commentary team because it's wherever you are. So, yeah.
Hey, I have an idea. Get a VPN.
Well, the beauty part about it, I hope they do this every time. They just recently posted the most recent one on YouTube, and I'm gonna watch that at some point. So there you go. There you go. As for the interviewer, it was Josh Matthews. I don't really think they used him all that much though, because
they used him in like one segment. Yeah. You also had the ring announcer team of Howard Finkel for Raw and Tony Schimmel for SmackDown. And
then the referees were Charles Robinson, Mike Chioda, Jack Doan, and Chad Patton for Raw. Nick Patrick was SmackDown. Oh, Hebner was Raw. I'm sorry, I'm reading this the order of Wikipedia, and they screwed me over. And I think they were doing it alphabetically. I thought they were doing it by brand.
Yeah. It's Brian Hebner and whoever else for SmackDown.
Mike Sparks for SmackDown.
I forgot he existed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when we did the SummerSlam 03 retro, they were all on SummerSlam 03, and we mentioned where they are nowadays.
So go check that out there. Don't worry about it here.
I gotta say, Mike Chioda, I don't know if bleaching was a thing back then, but he had some very blonde hair on this.
Yeah, holy fuck, he looked weird here.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Mike Chioda is just like Mike Chioda looked like a fucking Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Justin Roberts. Or I'm sorry, no, not Justin Roberts. That's an insult to him. Josh Matthews.
Actually, I will say one new thing on No Hebner because I didn't know this. Apparently, he's pretty much retired as a referee. I didn't know that until recently. So
yeah. His last match was in Bound for Glory this year.
Yeah. Okay. Starting with the opener, it just kicked right off with the opener too, like Cena's music hit and everything, pretty much. I remember that happened in SummerSlam 02, and you had to check to see if you missed something, but no, they didn't mess around.
No. This time they were legit. Yeah, it was legitimate.
But it was a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination match. And I'll give you a little behind the scenes. I wrote this over my Survivor Series 2019 notes. So it says a 5-on-5 Survivor Series triple threat elimination match. So that was a botch right there.
I see.
But there you go. But it was Team Angle, who's being captained by Kurt Angle. Also representing the team is John Cena, Chris Benoit, Bradshaw, and Hardcore Holly versus Team Lesnar, captained by Brock Lesnar. Also on the team was Big Show, A-Train, Nathan Jones, and Matt Morgan. I hate reviewing Survivor Series matches because when you have to present the matches, it's just so weird how you have to say it and everything. I hate doing this. Anyhow, the reason for this match. Oh, the later ones I'm going to be all over the place. I'm probably going to be watching everything. But anyhow, the build up to this match was pretty much this was the battle of work weight minus John Cena, because I guess he doesn't really fit that mold in this case, versus like the Beast pretty much. Brock Lesnar had a problem with about everybody on the other team. Hardcore Holly, he ended up breaking his neck the previous year, and he had just come back from his injury. Chris Benoit was like building his way up to the main event. Obviously, Lesnar and Angle was the main feud on SmackDown at this time, and Brock Lesnar pretty much recruited all of like the big athletes on SmackDown. And even though Heyman wasn't his advocate, Paul Heyman was just became the general manager. I didn't realize how brief Heyman's GM was at this time, because he just became the GM.
And he's literally gone by July.
Yeah, and he's working with Brock Lesnar, which I thought that was kind of cool because of the fact that they were able to work together, but they weren't like an advocate or manager or anything like that. So that was pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
That was different. No Heyman. It was also, although what was weird is that Big Show is just like, we're friends now, huh?
Yeah.
A year ago, you got backstabbed by this big ass bitch. What the fuck?
You can make that. Wrestling does this a lot when someone changes from one.
You saw nothing. Wait. Yeah, no, I got it for you. Ready? It's like the Matrix. You saw nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, they originally it was meant to be Farouk was meant to be in this match, but he got taken out by Team Lesnar. So Team Angle needed a new teammate, and originally they offered John Cena a spot on the team, and this had just happened on the Go Home episode of SmackDown, I believe. Cena said he was going to do it. I remember he got beat down by Team Lesnar. So this John Cena had just turned babyface, like not even that long ago before this show.
Yeah, and you could tell like it's still new to him. Like, oh wow, I'm face now. What the fuck?
Yeah,
you could tell. And he's still dissing his Survivor Series partners.
I know, yeah.
Yes, he is.
And yeah, believe it or not, Cena was so over that like they had no choice but to turn him heel. I say that just because how Cena's career ended with and everything. But
with Vince doing the big ass push.
But yeah, so the match starts. John Cena comes out and he just raps all over everybody. It was a really good rap.
Yeah,
just go check it out.
Yeah, I think I literally have John Cena with a great rap, which is a promo for the pay-per-view itself, as well as a diss to his opponents and even his teammates. Quote, John Cena survive alone. I don't need no freaking stable. I wonder if I could trade in my 4 partners for a one-night stand with Sable. Which is,
I think
admittedly a pretty good line.
I'm pretty sure Michael Cole right after that said, I buy it. It was Michael Cole that said it too, not even Taz. You would have expected Taz to be. I think Taz kind of like Michael Cole actually starts the joke right here, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like Michael Cole had a fucking personality.
He does have one now, to be fair. Though,
Thank God. Yeah. Dude, he's having the time of his life now that Vince is fucking gone. It looks like he's gone back in time in the Fountain of Youth since Vince has been gone.
I'm gonna be honest with you too. I honestly think Michael Cole now could honestly do commentary for another 10 years if he wants to, because of the he's having.
Yes.
But anyhow,
it's almost like Michael Cole is the epitome of Vince is a cunt.
Yeah. But anyhow, so yeah, we have the start of the match. Everybody brawls around ringside, and Hardcore Holly immediately goes after Brock Lesnar. He throws him into the steps several times, and it's to the point where he ends up shoving a referee, so he gets disqualified and is immediately sent to the back. I thought that was kind of a nice way to get him out of there.
That's what I wrote. Holly kicks the shit out of Brock Lesnar immediately and gets himself gone before the match started. He gets eliminated due to shoving Brian Hebner to the floor. Crowd boos.
Yeah, and then A-Train and Bradshaw go at it for a bit. A-Train got to showcase some talent right here. He had a really cool bicycle kick. And then eventually he misses a splash in the corner and he gets hit with the clothesline from hell and eliminated.
Yeah, specifically it was a Vader bomb attempt that got countered and then clothesline from hell. He's gone.
There you go.
And by the way, because he's A-Train, He's from Boston, Mass.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
And then eventually he goes for one on Big Show. I forgot to mention, by the way, Big Show's the U.S. champ at this time, and I mentioned this because when he holds that title looks so small when the Big Show holds it. Like that.
Just, dude, every belt did.
But
when he had the big eagle, it still looked like medium size compared to him.
But this was worse than like any other time. Like this belt looks small.
Oh
like,
my god, yeah. You know what it was too, because it was supposed to be mainly for fucking cruiserweights initially when it was booked, and then Vince wanted them to find a way to get the Big Show to get the belt. So it looks so, dude. It's this fucking championship and the like the World Tag Team title looked alright on him, but even that looked a bit small. The ECW title one was so egregiously small.
I know.
Fuck me, because he was like 520 pounds by that point. He looked wide as he was large, and the belt looked so goddamn minuscule.
Do you ever wonder, by the way, this is Vince, so anything's possible. Because notice the belts that looked the smallest on him, he held the longest. Do you ever wonder if Vince just thought it was hilarious that the belts look so small on him? That's why he held the.
Oh yeah, no, he probably fucking paid the guy. He's like, good rib, pal. Fucking.
But anyhow, so Bradshaw, I almost called him by the other name, but we can't do that here.
Yeah, we can. I called him by the other name in my notes. Right after that Big Show, I said right after that Big Show eliminates Jibio with a showstopper chokeslam after Nathan Jones hits a high kick right to the back of the neck of Bradshaw. Jesus Christ, why the elimination's going so quick. This is, by the way, you will notice that nobody's breaking up a single fucking fall.
To be fair, though, in this case it made sense because at least everyone else was brawling kind of inside and everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But yeah, I do want to mention. I know we don't do the aftermath, but just because Bradshaw's gone, not even that long in a year, he's WWE champion. That's freaking crazy. Like how that happened.
Yeah.
Like
he was. You would have never thought he was ever going to be the champion if you saw this.
Yeah. And then the match, obviously stalls for a little bit. Brock Lesnar and Chris Benoit start off the matchup, and Benoit kind of owns Brock Lesnar for a little bit, and eventually the heels get the heat on Chris Benoit for a while. Big Show hits a really cool gorilla press on Chris Benoit. Benoit sold this really well. I thought that was awesome. And then eventually Kurt Angle gets the hot tag. He starts going off on everybody. Eventually he makes Nathan Jones tap out to the ankle lock. I thought Nathan Jones looked relatively okay. I thought they protected him pretty well. The only thing that he really screwed up bad was that he was supposed to, I think...
I'll get to that. I actually have that in my notes. We'll get to that real quick. So, yeah. So, I said, man, John Cena's still roll-up boy even in the Thugonomics stage. He had to hit like 4 different fucking roll-ups in that. Little exchange he had with Brock, I think. Really good Hogan leg drop by Matt Morgan, but it misses. But it misses. But he connects with the side slam. Nathan Jones hits impressive martial arts knees, followed by a club to the back. Immediately tags out to Brock Lesnar. You could tell he's still green as goose shit. Really good hope spots by the heel team to isolate Cena for that long, but it all means nothing because you get the coldest tag by Benoit ever, and immediately changes the match dynamic. Now it looks like we're going into yet another heat spot with Benoit. A moment of great storytelling here by Michael Cole as he mentions that Big Show won a WWE Championship twice at this event. Every time.
I remember in this show. I don't know if this was a line fed from by Vince. He was talking about Brock Lesnar's team, and he was mentioning how this team
you know what you would think that'd be the case, but I'm pretty sure that was a Heyman fed line. The way he was able to flow it back into the match very much sounded like a Heyman fed line.
But he said that this team was compared to like the Team Andre team from the first Survivor Series.
Yeah, which is not a bad callback. It was a good callback. Every time Paul and Benoit fought, they always had great chemistry. Paul White and Benoit, that is. Really good maneuver by the heels. Matt Morgan decides to toss Benoit on the outside of the ring, so that way Nathan Jones and Brock Lesnar can assault Chris on the outside. The babyface has had enough as all hell breaks loose for a bit. Phenomenal hot tag to Kurt Angle, who goes apeshit on Matt Morgan and Brock Lesnar with Germans. This is where we get to Nathan Jones bit here. Green as goose shit, Nathan Jones slides in the ring too early and immediately has to just stand off camera while WWE producers in the back change camera angles.
Yeah,
what a derp. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Both captains get eliminated. Angle by Lesnar. Benoit submits Brock. A rare tap out at the hands of Benoit.
That was a surprise. Yeah, really didn't expect. I really didn't expect that when I saw it because you don't really think of Brock Lesnar tapping out. Even Angle getting eliminated was a surprise because typically the captains don't get eliminated. So I like that they changed it up there and stuff like that.
I agree. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar actually does a smart thing in this match, and when Benoit gets Big Show into the crossface, you know what does he do? What does he do? He actually breaks up the submission. Like good on Brock. He actually had brains there.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen a lot in the Survivor Series matches.
Yeah, true. It's almost like they actually had decent psychology in this.
And then eventually, Cena gets tagged in. He hits behind the referee's back. He hits Big Show with the chain and hits the FU at the time on the Big Show. And this was impressive because this was the first time he ever hit the FU on the Big Show. I mean, obviously now we kind of see it. It's not really that big of a deal because we've seen him do it so much.
Yeah.
But back then it was like really impressive because it was.
Yeah, the crowd went ape shit when he lifted him up, man. Like they went absolutely nuts when he pulled that off.
Yeah, and John Cena ended up hitting the Big Show, and the sole survivors were Chris Benoit and John Cena. This made all the sense of the world in hindsight, considering what it led to. Obviously, they were hyping up Chris Benoit to win the Royal Rumble, and they were really building up John Cena
to win the U.S. title. Yeah, and it was really good building blocks, and it was just in general like really good teasing of what Benoit could possibly be in the future. So like really, good, for sure. Really good shit. I
gave this match 3 stars. I thought it was good stuff. I thought it told a nice story. Where pretty much like it showed that like John Cena and Team Angle had to basically use their talent to take down the big athletes. I thought it told a nice story there. It was building blocks for Chris Benoit and John Cena. And considering the fact the talent that was in this match, the fact that it gets 3 stars, that's really like a 5 star.
I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars because they told a very good story, and whoever aged in the match deserves a fucking medal. Because Matt Morgan was still green as goose shit. I don't give a fuck what Jim Cornette wants to say. He sucked back then.
Yeah.
So was Nathan Jones. So was A-Train. A-Train was probably the most crafty veteran out of besides Big Show in that entire thing, so that was all right. But yeah, it was basically like the 2 greenest fucking goose shit guys, Matt Morgan and Nathan Jones. They did protect well here. I mean, they didn't do much, but they were able to tell a very good story. All things considered, with the 2 greenest goose shit guys.
And then
and they got a lot. They got a lot accomplished. I mean, they built the Holly and Brock matchup for the Rumble in this match. They had Angle, just look like a complete brick shit house. By the way, he went into this injured. Like he actually got injured a couple SmackDowns before. This is when he had his neck issues, neck string and neck problems. Yeah. So he actually went into this hurt. But yeah, he would go on to be a fucking big time guy later on.
Yeah, and then as for where everybody is, as you said, it built up to the Brock Lesnar Hardcore Holly match after this. Going through each guy, we've mentioned Kurt Angle, John Cena, Chris Benoit, Brock Lesnar, I think. And we've mentioned that's about all we've mentioned. So,
we mentioned JBL. We've mentioned JBL at some point, I'm pretty sure. And Holly, I think we haven't mentioned, but Holly, I'll just be quick. A constant wine bag on shoot interviews.
Yeah,
that's hardcore right now. Fucking JBL I don't
You
know.
mentioned.
Yeah, we mentioned. Nathan Jones would not last another year. I think he's a bouncer somewhere in Australia now.
Actually, no, he didn't even last another month. On December 3rd, he requested his release
Right.
because of the world schedule.
All these people that you see on the heel team, all would be gone with the exception of fucking Big Show.
Yeah.
Everybody would be gone. Lesnar would come back eventually, but Big Show was the only. He was the real sole survivor of his team.
Yeah. Because Nathan Jones actually, he actually got signed by TNA in like 2005, but he never did anything because he had an injury at the time, and then he was retired from the business altogether.
Yeah,
he just
got sick of it. Yeah.
As for Matt Morgan, he pretty much is just known for his TNA run for the most part now.
Yeah, which
I know.
It was the only good match he had was with Angle. I wonder why.
Yeah. But so, there you go.
Blueprint my ass.
Yeah. Continuing, Vince McMahon's backstage. He comes up to Shane McMahon, and he talks about how fitted it is that they're facing the Brothers of Destruction tonight, which it is kind of cool to think about. And he talks about how he hopes none of them get hurt too much. Shane McMahon basically says the same thing. And then he walks...
Well, no. Shane McMahon actually says, I just feel sorry for you. Because Vince has a whole fucking... He has a whole, like, God complex. Like, God's protecting him. Whereas Shane is like, fuck you. I'm just here to defend my mother, you senile fuck.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. And then he walks by Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they both kind of like they both kind of awkwardly laugh at each other. And I love at one point Steve Austin just stops laughing, and Vince just gets all nervous.
Dude, that was such a good fucking segment. I said really awesome backstage segment between Shane and Vince before their individual matches with the Brothers of Destruction. Vince and Shane are so underrated when it comes to these type of segments. The chemistry is unbelievably good. That they, honest to God, deserve Emmys all to themselves, and that's coming from a man who absolutely despises Vince as a person. Then Austin and McMahon face off. What a throwback in time. A weird, awkward laugh between both.
Yeah.
Really good segment.
Then we had the Women's Championship match. It was Molly Holly defending the title against Lita.
I said, oh, God damn it. The worst theme song ever comes out next as Lita makes her entrance.
Yeah. The build-up was Lita...
Go ahead. Talk about the build-up.
The build-up was Lita had just come back from a neck injury, and she had just become the #1 contender to the Women's Championship.
Yeah.
So she was in this match here. I think Lita had just come... You could correct me if I want. She had just come off her... the first ever women's steel cage match in WWE. I believe she just came off that win pretty much too, which is pretty cool. And yeah, we had this match.
Before you even get to the match, I said Molly Holly makes her entrance. I love that every female wrestler that ever steps foot in a WWE ring has to immediately have pink lighting by default.
Yeah, it's the purple ropes then with the cruiserweight division before that even happened. So,
I also say, why does JR have to have a gimmick where Molly Holly is ugly immediately to him? I would say this is a Vince call, but if you look at how JR acts on Twitter, I wouldn't be surprised if these were his legitimate thoughts.
Yeah, it was weird. This was a really good women's match right here. Consider the fact at the time, think of the time too, we didn't see a women's match like this ever, really.
No.
This is even pre-Trish and Lita's like epic feud that they would have. This is a year before that and everything like that too. Lita dominates the match in the beginning. Eventually, Molly Holly starts taking over the matchup, and you just see all these types of moves. You see a sit-out powerbomb, a Molly go on, which got kicked out of. I couldn't even believe that happened.
Yeah, right.
And Lita hits a dive onto the outside. She gets pushed off of the top turnbuckle and face first into the barricade. And eventually, Molly Holly exposes the turnbuckle. And when Lita has her rolled up, Molly Holly kicks out, which causes her the momentum of her to go into the exposed turnbuckle, and Molly Holly rolls her up for the win. Really good match here. I gave it 3.5 stars. I was completely fine with Molly Holly winning. You could make the argument maybe Lita should have won since she was just coming back and everything like that, but I think it just gave Molly Holly even more heat. She probably should have gotten the belt though at some point. Like maybe she should have been the one to dethrone Molly Holly, considering the fact that I think the person that ended up dethroning her really didn't go anywhere from it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
But
honestly, I'm cool with it. It was a good match. It was a really good match.
Yeah, 3.5. That's really good stuff.
Same, 3.5. I said in my notes, I said Lita just came back from a broken neck. Jerry Lawler says that Lita started with the Hardys. No, she didn't, Jerry. She started with S.A. Rios. Yeah. Once she came first into WWE. You could tell Vince McMahon was immediately rushed behind the booth so that way he could skew information.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm not done. I got notes. I got my notes. This is my thing. Really good psychology and wrestling maneuvers in a women's match. I am surprised by this match. I am surprised that this match is really competitive with these two women. Really good stuff so far. Lita doing a Shawn Michaels to get to the top rope to do a crossbody was really cool. Honest to God, one of the worst 10 count punches I've ever seen in my life by Lita, though. By the way, holy shit, I don't know what JR is seeing. Molly Holly is attractive as hell. Why was her gimmick that she was ugly?
I have no idea.
Okay, so I don't know. Really good false finishes and a good heel finish by Holly to retain the belt. 3.5 stars. Good stuff.
Yeah, I probably would have rated the match higher had it not been for Ken's commentary. There was at one point where it was like right before the introductions and everything, where JR mentions that she was a 2-time women's champion, and of course Jerry the Killer was like, "Wait, she's a 2-timer?" Like it was just so bad.
Yeah, pervy Jerry being pervy Jerry. Yeah.
As for both women, I think we've talked about Lita before, or maybe we didn't. I don't know if we have before. I actually think we haven't actually. So, Lita would eventually go on to win the women's title the next year. She actually, not a month later, would be a part of that Chris Jericho, Christian, Trish Stratus storyline, which is pretty cool stuff.
Yes. And
then she obviously went on to be a part of the big part of what got the women's division really going that we talked about in the last retro, Halloween Havoc 97, and got it really going with a feud with Trish Stratus. And then she was a part of that weird Kane Matt Hardy storyline we don't want to talk about. And then she turned here with Edge, retired, and pretty much has been back on a part-time basis. She's had a few matches. The most recent one was at Elimination Chamber, challenging Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. And yeah,
that's a fucking trip that they did not put that on Mania. I will never understand that decision.
Well, you gotta sell that Saudi shows, man. You know, why would you wanna put that on Mania when Saudi?
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was in Saudi, that Elimination Chamber that year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And then as for Molly Holly, as I said, she dropped the title to Victoria at WrestleMania 20 in the hair versus title match, and she became she pretty much just kind of floundered around for a bit, then eventually took time off.
Yeah, when you really look at it, WWE Raw had a really good women's division, and it's almost like, for whatever reason, women's division and cruiserweight division, they absolutely shit on, even though it was the two fucking divisions that separated and defined both shows.
I know.
What are you doing?
And then Molly Holly took time off to pretty much be a mom and a wife. Yeah. There was like other reasons that came out why she took the time off, but they ended up not being true.
Right, yeah. Yeah, dirt sheets spreading bullshit rumors.
Yeah. And then she's pretty much returned on a part-time basis. She's producer backstage now, and has obviously shown up for like Royal Rumbles and things like that.
Could still go with the best of them too. I'm surprised she's not on a full-time run right now. To be honest with you.
With the women's division that's going on right now too. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, if you notice, and the What Culture article, where I initially got the pay-per-view figure number from, actually said if you're an astute observer, you'll notice that she's rocking Crash Holly armbands that say CH on them. So
there you go. Was she trained by Hardcore Holly or something like that?
Yeah, no, the Holly cousins are legitimately a thing.
I think. Crash Holly.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, they're all part of the same clique there.
Yeah, and then the next match is the ambulance match. It's Shane McMahon versus Kane. We've talked about the Kane Unmasked storyline before, so this was if you want to just kind of know the history behind this feud, just go watch SummerSlam 03 because we kind of talked about
we covered this. I said really good promo package here for Shane McMahon versus Kane. This honestly might be the most personality I've ever seen Linda McMahon show. This feud is absolutely wild. I must say the music sucks in this promo package. It's a very generic choice.
Yeah, it's very generic.
I don't know why they picked the fucking music they picked. That was like, what the fuck was it? Whatever that fucking goddamn thing is.
They like to use that song. They like to use that song a lot, like when like disturbing stuff happens in movies. Like this song's been used in movies and stuff.
But it's not like.
Yeah.
Man, like in 03, like even in 03, like you couldn't have made a better fucking choice. I mean, Jesus Christ. Thank God that we're not just using the same generic track over and over again, huh? The ambulance for the ambulance match almost gets caught on fire because they didn't cue the ambulance to back up far enough. For Kane's pyro, and it almost blew the ambulance up. I couldn't believe this.
My favorite thing every time that happens, every time Kane comes out, when Kane's on commentary, he's like, wait, what was that? Like, he doesn't understand that that's Kane's thing sometimes. He always does that sometimes. Like, wait, what is that? Like, he doesn't understand.
Oh! What was that?
Like,
what do you mean? How are you taken by surprise by this every fucking time? What the fuck?
I always think it's I always wonder, by the way, too, if like, because the commentary we never mentioned this at this time for Raw was always up on the stage. I always wonder if they ever had a pyro issue where like the Kin and JR almost got hit with the pyro because that probably legitimately scared the crap. I wonder if that was like legit by Kin every time or something like that. That was just like,
like why didn't they have like a fucking plexiglass or some shit to protect them? Like what the fuck? Like if I'm JR King, I'm like, dude, why am I here? Can I if I'm gonna be here, can I at least be protected by plexiglass so I don't get burned alive by pyro? I don't want to cook in 90-degree weather all of a sudden.
Now, if you could correct me if I'm wrong, this is because we did SummerSlam review. At SummerSlam, did Kane come out with a bag over his head? Not the bag, but that sack or whatever that he had over his head. I don't think he had it in the SummerSlam.
You mean the towel?
Yeah, the towel.
Yeah.
I think that was recent. I think this was recent, right? He didn't have it at SummerSlam. I'm pretty sure he didn't.
I think he did. I don't remember.
Yeah, he definitely changed his attire. The attire was different. This is when he started wearing the attire that he would wear up until he remasked in 2011.
Right. Yeah.
So that was definitely new.
Finally got rid of the fucking mesh top. He just went with the fucking barbed wire pants.
I always loved the theme song, by the way, that Kane had at this time. I don't know.
Still an all-time classic. Fucking yeah. What was it called? Fucking
Slow Chemical
by Finger 11. Really good fucking shit. And it was originally not even supposed to be Kane's theme. It was a Punisher soundtrack.
So there you go.
Just sounded like Kane's fucking intro. So they're like, hey, can we use this? Yeah, go for it.
It actually works for Kane if you listen to the lyrics too.
Yeah, true. By the way, you can check my custom anniversary Titantron of Mr. Glenn Jacobs, libertarian now absolute weirdo Twitter guy, but cool little thing right here. Check it out. Yeah.
But yeah, so Shane McMahon comes out and he immediately hits a high crossbody. Kane was clearly supposed to go over the top rope, but obviously they kind of messed that up. But it still worked. And Shane just
actually, yeah, I remember this spot. And you know what? Allow me, because I'll start my notes and then you can read your notes. Sure. Holy shit! Kane immediately almost dies off an out of nowhere crossbody by Shane McMahon over the top rope. If you take a close look at Kane's descent down, he almost necks himself right on the floor when going over the top rope. this was a scary fall.
Do you remember sometimes in like SVR 2008, if you landed on the floor, like your head would like be driven down on the net? That was almost Kane right there.
Yeah, that was Kane. That was almost Kane. I don't know how he fucking twerked his body more, but he fucking found a way to not knock himself. Kane is immediately able to recover with a vicious clothesline followed by a toss into the steps, and Shane counters with a chair shot right onto the steps while Kane is why did this auto
while the steps are over Kane. I used to like the spot at the time, but now that I like know all this wrestling type of stuff, you can just clearly see that these steps not even close to touching Kane's face. Like all they probably do is just like hurt his ears, and that's about it. But
yeah, we get what they were going for. Yeah, the fucking. You can tell there's actual animosity in a match that absolutely calls for it.
Oh, yeah.
Shane McMahon does a concerto spot with a monitor and a Spanish announce table itself, damn near caving Kane's head just to keep him on the table long enough for his elbow drop leap of faith special. Crowd is electric by this point in the matchup. Crowd is booing because they're going to the back, and boos louder when the camera cuts. I don't know if they were just having technical issues, or if they were just trying to make it like that much more chaotic in post or whatever, but something was weird about it.
One of them definitely wasn't supposed to happen.
I believe you're correct. Yeah, Shane McMahon has a smart game. Okay, this match makes a lot more sense than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Shane McMahon actually has a smart man's game plan, while Kane McMahon has more brute strength game plan. Wow, Shane McMahon backs a van into Kane, which sends him into a security box full of glass shattering all over him. Kane hits a chokeslam from hell onto a concrete wall, but then throws him on the other side as well. Kane just throwing Shane into everything that looks painful, actually. Kane finally throws Shane McMahon head into the windshield of the ambulance after a gigantic toss. Shane reverses the lawn dart into the ambulance and slams the door right into Kane's face multiple times. Shane McMahon hits a float over DDT on concrete. Kane gets set up for the spot in the match with a trash can shot to the head. Shane McMahon then goes to the top of the ambulance and hits a coast-to-coast from the top onto Kane, trash can in the face while Shane lands on a sound box. Kane is bleeding from the top of the head after that spot. Kane hits 3 front power slams onto the side of the ambulance, then finally hits the lawn dart into the ambulance, then hits a choke slam again onto the side of the ambulance, then to finish it off hits a tombstone right on the concrete floor to send Shane McMahon into the ambulance to win the match. I said, what a David and Goliath brawl, 4.5 stars. This match fucking rules. I don't care what anybody says. This match fucking ruled all kinds of ass. Like, it got over Shane and how crazy and gutsy he is, number one. Number two, it actually did get Kane over as a bigger monster than he already was. Because no matter what Shane threw at him, the fuckers is just like, nah.
Yeah.
You ain't, nah. It was like honestly, it was like if Kane played the part of Michael Myers and Shane McMahon tried to play the person trying to kill Michael Myers. That's what that felt like.
The difference is Michael Myers won this time around. Like
yes.
Yeah, this is great stuff here. I loved how Shane McMahon was just consistently trying to outsmart Kane. Had some really good spots. I think it did get Kane over as a monster. We talked about this off the air. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't look to this stuff as what killed Kane because they were doing other things that screwed over Kane that just didn't help Kane in the slightest either.
No.
So that's also why this didn't do justice for Kane.
If they made Kane as just a rogue monster that didn't align with a good guy or bad guy mentality, this would have helped that in spades. I think.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I really think it would have, but yeah, it just they didn't know what the fuck
Yeah.
they were doing. And you know what's fucking weird? They knew what the hell they were doing with Kane all the way up until like 01 even. Like a lot of people say, oh, he wasn't really used great in 01, but like he just whatever.
That was the.
Well,
That's the year you. That's the year limit. That's the way he had the Rumble record up until 2014.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right. No, but I'm saying like a lot of people said prior to the Rumble record, he was like, he wasn't really used that great after the Xbox thing. And I'm like, what? Really?
Yeah.
Because I think he just kind of did his own thing, and he was just a fucking monster who, like, if you cross him, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what he should have been used, like, here to, like, a 11th degree. Especially the way he was built here.
For sure. Like, yeah, like, I don't, yeah, this is just, because this worked so much, I loved it, I gave it, like, 4 stars, it's just, yeah, I feel like, you know, it sucks, because, like, Kane's Unmasked, we talked about it the last time, really should have been, like, this awesome thing where he just went rogue. Like Adam Lampe said, it should have been, like, opening Pandora's box. Like, you don't want that to be open. And they really screwed it up. If you think about it, they screwed it up when they unmasked him, and then, well, if we ever do a retro, they screwed it up when they remasked him the same way, pretty much.
Yep.
So it's honestly, like...
Embrace the hate, John.
Yeah. Like, this Kate, I don't, like... I feel like not a lot of people give Kate credit because he's had to survive a lot of crap in spite of everything that Vince has given him with Katie Vick and some stuff like this. I feel like people have talked. I feel like when you ask people about Kane, they'll say, yeah, he's a good world champion. No one really will ever say how truly good of a talent and just how unselfish Kane was, because he really was that unselfish.
Yeah, and that's the sometimes unselfish to a fault.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I feel like
he really should have made more of a stink about how his character was used somewhat here.
Yeah.
Minus this match, because I think this match was fucking picture perfect.
Absolutely, but yeah. I mean, people have talked about it too. Kane was way overexposed too. Like Kane the fact that Kane was just became like another wrestler on the roster should not have happened. He should have been something like special. Like
especially like when he lit JR on fire, he should have been suspended for a while at least.
Yeah. Like, I know Taker, like, started having matches every week, but he still felt, like, different enough where it didn't even really matter. He was wrestling every week and all that.
Yeah, and plus, this is, like, in ring, like, that, the final years of the Big Evil thing, the Big Evil run were, like, the best of his career.
Yeah, it's like, we've mentioned where both of these guys are, in other videos and stuff.
Yep, Except the only thing, the update for Kane is he's having dumb political takes on Twitter. So let's just move on there.
Yeah. Next, Brock Lesnar. I'll just break down all these segments all at once because they're all pretty. Well, I guess not because the coach thing goes a while. So
well, yeah. You know what? Let me get you for this one. Brock Lesnar interviews Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews is basically saying, "Hey, Brock, what are your thoughts on losing tonight, bro?" The most bare bones generic question I've ever seen. Brock is then talking. I didn't lose. Josh then says, "Brock, with all due respect, you tapped out to Benoit." I didn't lose, Josh. Who do you think you're talking to? I can beat anybody. I can beat anybody up and down the Raw or SmackDown locker room. And then cue Goldberg. Goldberg, they get the pop.
Yeah.
Crowd goes nuts. They're both world champions. And then Goldberg says, "You're gonna wish me luck in my match tonight," and then walks away.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now, a few things I want to talk about real quick.
Go ahead.
First, technically, years later, Brock Lesnar would be right. Technically, he didn't lose because that match is not remembered anymore. So technically, he's not on.
It is not Invisible Man, okay?
Second.
The gimmick is dead. Let it die.
Second. the only thing I was thinking about watching this is good thing this ain't Brock Lesnar from 2012. Josh Matthews was interviewing because we saw what happened to him in 2012 when that happened. Oh my! I still love that segment so much when Brock Lesnar just tosses Josh Matthews to the grate.
Bro, it's fucking insane. Like, he just fucking launches him.
I still love it when he. I love it when, like, he walks away and Josh just goes, "I was just trying to do my job."
This is for saying I lost. This is for saying I lost to Benoit, you cunt.
And then the third
fucking
thing,
tosses him.
And then the third thing I forget. I was laughing too much. So.
No. What were you gonna say? Try and remember. We can pause.
Oh, it just. When I was watching, I think when you watched, if you probably watched the segment at the time, like, you were probably hyped, but if you watch the segment back, you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad.
No, it's all falling apart. It is. And this is the day the wrestling industry died.
Next,
shit.
Next, Jonathan Coachman comes out in a neck brace because he was 3D'd by the Dudleys on.
Oh my god!
Like,
dude, the first thing that I fucking wrote, by the way, was, "Why the fuck is Coachman coming out tonight?" LOL. Was the first thing I wrote when I saw him coming out, and then he said, and then it's in-ring segment with the coach while he walks down to the ring. JR says on commentary he should be the study for enema research. Or enema research. Which basically, if you don't know what an enema is, it's a fucking thing to help you shit.
Yeah.
Or a thing that that might be a problem with shit. It's something to do with taking a shit.
There you go.
Alright, there you go.
So, Jonathan Coachman is acting all cocky. He talks about how they just saw vicious devastation in the last match, and we think he's talking about the last match, but he was talking about when he got a 3D by the Dudleys. And then he talked about how he's rooting for Eric Bischoff to retire Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, this is like this is like right after he. This is like he joins Coach like in right after the Backlash, right, or something.
This was SummerSlam 03 he joined him, if you remember.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
And then he goes to leave, and then he notices Mark Cuban's in the crowd.
By the way, what a weird ass theme song to this day. Before we get to the Cuban bit,
I know.
Like, and now don't forget, and the gift you Jack say, I know, no,
it's so bad.
No. By the way, how this fucking. By the way, I don't even know if anybody catches this. By the way, it's Coachman rapping.
I do that, yeah.
Like, that's actually... I'm not even gonna lie. Like, for the weird-ass gimmick, alright? Gets a pretty decent flow.
Yeah, he does.
Gotta give the man credit. You gotta give that fucking man credit, man. Like, you got some bars in there. Maybe Don DeMarco one day. We'll just do it for the fucking memes or whatever.
Yeah, he notices Mark Cuban in the crowd. And he wants to have a one-on-one interview with him. This is something he's been waiting for his entire life, which I think was true, considering the fact that he, worked for SportsCenter and everything later on in his career. And he gets asked who he wants to win the Team Austin, Team Bischoff match. He says Team Austin, and then he
says I can't wait for Austin to kick Eric Bischoff's ass. Well,
yeah.
Well, he did get what he wanted. I guess.
Yeah.
But then he didn't.
Not really.
Until he didn't.
Yeah. And then he asks about the similarities between the referees in WWE and NBA because he owned the basketball team in Texas. And he just basically says that they both suck, which was kind of weird to say that. They both agreed about it, too. I feel like he should have asked this question.
Bro, they bury all referees, including the WWE referees. What the fuck was that?
But this was just kind of weird.
And by the way, anybody ever noticed that Mark Cuban, when he cuts a fucking promo for wrestling, also looks like fucking Paige Van Zandt? Deer in the headlights has no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Then Eric Bischoff comes out and he tells him to get in the ring and say what he just said to his face. He does, and Bischoff,
and then he shoves him right after he says that when he gets into the ring. Or no, he gets into the ring and then Bischoff says some other crap, right?
He threatens to because he's the one renting the building tonight. He technically owns it. So he threatens to security kick him out.
Okay,
but
so he rehashed... by the way, he rehashed a gimmick that he fucking did on, like, Nitro years prior, in, like, in 97. He did this exact same thing. Oh, I rented the building, so I own the building, and then the building and the owner was like, no, I own the fucking building, and then it was, like, a whole thing for the entire 3-hour Nitro, and this was a lot simpler and to the fucking point here.
Funny thing is I have a feeling too. If the security were gonna pick who would throw out, they probably would have picked Eric Bischoff too. Is the funny thing too.
Yeah, exactly. So he was saying an empty threat. Cuban fucking shoved him down. Gets a huge pop from the.
And then Randy Orton comes out.
What an RKO by fucking! What a sell by Cuban. He took that fucking flat on his face.
Yeah, and then
Jesus.
Yeah, Randy. This is when Randy Orton was new at doing the RKO too. Let's talk about that. He hadn't been doing this move all that long too. He just started doing it like in August and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
And then after this, the Sergeant Slaughter and other people help Cuban to his feet, and believe it or not, Vince knows long-term storytelling because in 2009 they went back to this, and Cuban got his revenge by having him fast counting Randy Orton's shoulders to the mat, doing a match with Kofi Kingston. Back
when Vince last gasp of believing in long-term storytelling until he didn't and bury Kofi because of a botch.
Yep, and then believe it or not, I read this online recently. I actually read it today. Apparently, in 2007, Mark Cuban was in talks with Vince McMahon about starting like a mixed martial arts league. Can you imagine how bad that would have been if Vince McMahon got his hands on that? That would have been terrible.
Oh my god! What the fuck? Wow, man. Okay, there's a couple things I gotta talk about here. Number one, you could tell Mark Cuban just legitimately was a fan of MMA and really wanted to start an MMA league, right? You could tell Vince McMahon only got involved because he's a petty cunt and really didn't like that Dana was beating him in pay-per-view buys. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. Like... God, that would have been a disaster with those philosophies colliding, man.
Yeah. Vince would try
Mark Cuban would have he would have tried to work every match, and Mark Cuban would have quit within a week and sold the assets.
Can you imagine? That would be the ball for all, just all over again if you think about it.
Fucking Godfather comes back. Fucking Steve Blackman. He's like fucking middle-aged man now, and they're fucking having a brawl for all fight in the middle of the ring. Oh my god, what the fuck are they gonna call it? Martial art, MME, martial arts entertainment. Wow.
Next, do you have any notes?
I just said he took an RKO. Well, that was it.
Oh yeah.
And then there was an Evolution segment, and I said, great Evolution backstage segment as they get sexually assaulted by all the ladies there. What the fuck was this?
So the backstage, and this is like a pre-celebration because Triple H believes tonight's just a formality that he's gonna beat Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton comes in, and one of the women pinches Randy Orton's nipples.
Yo, what the fuck was this, man? Like, why are you? What the fuck was this a rib? What's the fuck? What the fuck was happening? I didn't I kept like watching this, like it was already getting weird, right? Like this is like you don't know how you feel about certain things. Like you understand, like oh, nice, pretty women. We done like the pretty women or whatever, right? Like that was the Attitude Era, even early Ruthless Aggression. But it was weird because instead of what you would normally see, which is the women like fucking having a cat fight or something and undressing themselves, for some reason they're trying to like undress Triple H out of his fucking top. Like, and then Flair's like, yeah. Well, and it's like, ladies, you gotta calm down. You can't blow out his legs.
So weird.
You can't blow out his legs just yet. I'm like, huh? I'm like,
Yeah.
I get it. All right. So basically, what's gonna happen is orgy, right? That's what it is. Okay, it's an orgy. But why does this shit get a backstage segment? Like I don't. And then by the way, so yeah, then Orton comes
Why
in.
was this on a? Yeah.
No,
Why was this on a pay? Why was this on a pay-per-view? By the way,
right?
This is not a pay-per-view.
Exactly. It was just randomly thrown in here, but it was like entertaining regardless, I guess, for all the wrong reasons. And then Orton comes in, and then Orton's like, "Whoa!" And then this fucking lady pinches his nipples.
I don't think Randy Orton.
And then Orton is like, "What the fuck? Huh?"
I don't even.
I'm like, and I was going the same thing. I'm like, "What?"
I don't even know if Randy Orton was expecting all those women were going to be in there. Like when he came in there, like he was like legitimately surprised.
Like this had to have been a Flair call or something. Like that's absolutely a Flair segment through and through. Like all it was just a revamped version of Four Horsemen.
And then, eventually Evolution just say that they're going to take care of business tonight. In the ring, anyways.
Oh, shit. More so in the ring. Forgive my drift.
Only two of them.
Fucking.
Only two of them really. Only two of them did. If you, honestly, so.
Hey, don't worry. They'll get their own back in the next pay-per-view.
And then you have this segment in.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's such a weird thing. Oh, by the way, the weird kinky shit gets even weirder later.
By later, I mean right now, probably.
Yes. In fact, it's match 4. Los Guerreros versus the Bashams with, what the fuck's her name? Shaniqua. Okay.
I like that name, actually.
Shaniqua's a good name, but this is the first thing I fucking wrote. Alright? Bashams comes out as sex slaves to a black woman. That's racy in 2 ways.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Especially not the best place to put this segment too, considering the fact that
Orton
this is right.
got sexually assaulted on camera, and he's perplexed, and then they go swapping right to this BDSM shit.
Yeah.
You couldn't make this up, man. Only in wrestling. Nobody's doing it like this anymore.
No, only in Vince's wrestling.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh my god.
The storyline behind this match was Los Guerreros had just lost the WWE Tag Team Championships to the Bashams, and they were supposed to have a rematch on the most previous SmackDown, but Eddie Guerrero got lied to that something happened to his sister. I forget what it was, but something happened to his sister-in-law. So he had to go deal with that. So it was left. So Chavo had to wrestle a handicap match, and Chavo got upset with Eddie Guerrero earlier in the show that he was so gullible about that, which I can't blame him, because who wouldn't be upset with him about that? But honestly, this wasn't dumb, because it was obviously planting the seeds of a split.
Right. Yeah.
So it made it work. Never really been a Bashams fan. They were so generic. I think the talent was pretty good, but they were just given nothing to work with.
Bro, I don't know what they were like in OVW, but apparently, like, I think it was Doug Basham was like the star of the team, and then they had him shave his head.
Yeah. And then
we know why now.
Yeah, but Los Guerreros start off the matchup aggressively. Eventually, they get the heat on Chavo Guerrero, and eventually Eddie Guerrero gets the hot tag. He starts going off on everybody, and it just becomes like a good tag team match here. Eventually, they finally get their revenge on Chiniquo, and they hit a suplex into a frog splash and give her a spanking.
Oh yeah, did they give her a spanking? Like, what the fuck was this, man? Like, just Orton sexually assaulted. 2 white dudes are sex slaves to a black woman. The black woman gets spanked by Mexican. What the hell's going on here?
This is all one segment.
What the fuck, Vince? Like, seriously, what the hell?
And then eventually, Chavo Guerrero hits a tornado DDT, and he inadvertently hits Eddie Guerrero, which allows one of the Bashams to roll up Eddie for the win and retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. Made sense considering the fact that they were setting up the split, and you just put the belts on the Bashams. There was no reason for them to lose them. I think the only reason the Bashams honestly won the belts was just they wanted to get Eddie Guerrero to the main event scene, and they needed some team to for Los Guerreros to drop the belts to. And I don't think they had any other teams for them to drop the belts to, because I guess they could have done the world's greatest tag team, but I think they had done that match to death. They had to do something new.
Bashams just got the worst end of every fucking gimmick too. Like fucking. They would be this weird shit, and then they just became generic bald boys, right? And they were trying to, and they were actually gonna go into a feud with the Dicks before the Dicks got fucking released. So it was just gonna be a fucking generic bald Central.
Yeah.
And then they became a part of JBL's cabinet as, get this, Secretaries of Defense, where they had the initials of that exact phrase on their trunks.
I'm not good with my
right on their crotch. It says SOD. Suck our dicks is what the joke is. In case you aren't a fucking, man-child with a lot of repressed issues.
So to be fair, I didn't know that because I'm not good with my acronyms. So
that's fine. That's fine. It's just yeah. They got the shit end of the stick a lot of the time.
No, there was even worse. But I'm gonna tell you some more stuff that happened to them. So then they
oh boy,
one of them got switched to Raw. I don't even know if you ever heard about this. He was meant to be like some type of gimmick where like he came out. I think he was meant to be like Damian Priest or something like that. And the gimmick didn't get over, so they.
You mean the third time they tried that after the Sean O'Hare experiment failed?
Yep, and then
well, that was more on Piper, but.
And then they were the Paul Heyman goons from ECW. They were the FBI thing or whatever that was.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot they were the fucking security dudes.
And then they got released. One of them. You can look it up for yourself because I forget which one. I think it's Doug Basham. Actually, is like a head coach at Al Snow's school, and
that makes sense. That makes sense. That might be the one that Jim Cornette saw a lot in. To be fair.
And then he just recently had like his last match earlier this year. I think it was the day of SummerSlam in OVW. He was doing some good work in OVW.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, OVW's been making a comeback recently on TV.
And then the other one left the company, went to be a part of OVW, and he hasn't really made an indie appearance since 2018. I don't know what happened. Maybe he just didn't feel like doing it anymore. Maybe he just wants to do his podcast. I think... No, it's not him. I'm trying to think. I remember there's somebody on this show that does like a podcast on Wrestle Inc. But I don't think it's.
It's probably not him. Although we'll definitely see him on the podcast if Rene Dupree has anything to say about it. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, there you go. I'll just check real quick. So that way I think it is him.
Want me to pause?
Nah, this is good stuff to have right here. So.
Okay. Whatever you say, buddy.
This is good stuff. So
it's such good shit, pal. We're gonna have black woman with white sex slaves, and then we're gonna have Orton get sexually assaulted, and to top it off, we're gonna have Eddie and Chavo spank Shaniqua, and I'm gonna be in a feud with Taker where he says he's gonna get raped by a motorcycle gang. Or wait, no, his wife. Who's... Yes.
Oh, actually, it's Matt Morgan.
By the way, all of what I said happened around the same time period. Like, no bullshit. Not making any of this up. This was WWE in 03.
Okay, so I got the correction. It's Matt Morgan that does the Wrestle Inc. Podcast, not...
Does he really?
Adams. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
It's actually recent too. He reviews episodes of NXT and Dynamite and stuff like that. So,
ooh, I don't know. I might check that out unless he's anything like Cornette. Then otherwise, I won't.
I mean, it's Wikipedia. They're not going to tell you that. So
that's fair. Yeah, I'll take a listen.
But anyhow, what was I gonna? Yeah, so Shaniqua didn't last much longer in the company. When the
boy, did she not!
When the Basshams dropped the tag titles to Rikishi and Too Cool, I forget which team it was.
Scotty 2 Hotty.
Scotty 2 Hotty. She was out of the company afterwards, and now she's a basketball referee. So that's good stuff.
I see. Wow.
And that she's not very well known now. Like that's all it says when you go to personal life.
Yeah, probably. Well, when you're a basketball referee for the WNBA, well, that checks out.
Yeah.
Not to be sexist or anything, but like, let's be honest. There's plenty of fucking female stars that actually have a lot of good about them. WNBA has not drawn any houses since they launched. So.
I wouldn't know that because I don't watch basketball. Like honestly, I'll tell you. When I was doing the research on Mark Cuban, the second I started reading about his basketball career, I was just done with that. I wasn't happy. So
you and Noah are just the same fucking people. You know that.
I can see why you confuse our names so often because we just have the same.
You just have the same attitude. Fuck everything else unless it's wrestling. I like wrestling. Give me more wrestling.
No, for me it's just sports right now. So.
Oh yeah. You have a vendetta against sports. When in reality we know who the vendetta should be against. Off the air topics. To be continued. And then,
but yeah, and then we mentioned Los Guerreros. The only recency thing is this launched to their feud where eventually they would split up and everything like that. So
yeah, they had their match at the Royal Rumble, which then got Eddie a title shot. And by the way, chaotic. I said chaotic ending, but decent match. 2.5 stars. I also said in the notes, Chevy Lowrider Truck by Eddie and Chavo, super cool. Slingshot Senton used to be called the Hilo, or Hilo. Very good and quick offense by the babyface team, and good cutoffs by the heel team. Very good psychology. That's all I wrote.
I thought it was hilarious. Taz was talking about the wheels on the lowrider. The wheels were moving, but the car wasn't. And Taz was trying to explain it like that's just a new thing that cars did in 2003. But that was so hilarious. Like, honestly, I think Taz went to like in the future. This was like AEW Dog Taz just having all types of conversations and everything. I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah, that's what 2003 cars do, Cole. You know, it's right in the bags.
That was awesome.
It's fucking Eddie and Chavo Jones over here.
But I just noticed when, like, I feel like this Survivor Series review went downhill the second we started talking about this Evolution segment. Like, honestly, we have not been the same since that happened. Like,
it's fucking wild, bro. Orton just gets his nipples pinched, and he's like, "Why?"
But by the way, I gave this match like 3 stars because it's good tag team wrestling, and as you know from my fantasy bookings, I like me some tag team wrestling. So
yeah, tag team wrestling's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's 3 stars. Let's get serious because this is a serious match right now. So, um, it I have to. It's gonna be hard to get out there though. So, it's Team Bischoff, captained by Eric Bischoff, represented by Chris Jericho, Christian, Mark Henry, Randy Orton, and Scott Steiner, with the captain ringside, Teddy Long, and Stacy Keibler, versus Team Austin, captained by Stone Cold Steve Austin, represented by Booker T, the Dudley Boys, Rob Van Dam, and Shawn Michaels. Ringside was the captain, and that's it. And then
Oh, by the way, Van Dam's Intercontinental Champion again.
yeah, I didn't even know. I never even knew that until like JR mentioned it, that he like lost the belt and like won it. So does Jericho have like? I always thought, does Jericho have actually 10 IC title reigns and they excluded one of them? Because I don't even remember like this time frame.
I don't remember, honest to God.
Because I honestly thought he had the IC title.
I'd have to check. They probably fucked up the goddamn number or whatever.
Because something happened. Because let me think. Because I remember Christian has the IC title.
Yes.
He beat he was IC champ at SummerSlam. Then LVD, I think, didn't he win a ladder match and beat Christian for the belt at this time? I'm pretty sure that happened.
Yes.
And then Jericho won the IC title. He must have won it at a house show. Maybe JR, like, I don't know if JR just screwed up or whatever, because it was just weird that he said that. Because I don't even remember LVD losing the IC title. Like,
yeah, I don't know, but
I don't know what happened.
And either way, this your teams. These are your teams.
Yeah.
I also said to think Teddy is on Eric's side, and in 2 years they'd be fighting each other. LOL.
Yeah. The stipulations for the match: if Team Austin lost, Stone Cold Steve Austin would have to step down as the Raw co-general manager,
and he'd have to retire, quote unquote.
Yeah, and if Team Austin wins, Austin would no longer have to be physically provoked to attack a Raw superstar. I guess SmackDown is excluded here because it doesn't say anything about SmackDown.
Yeah, like, why didn't he just decide to fuck... Why didn't he just go to SmackDown, actually? What the fuck? Wait! Paul! You dropped the ball, man! What are you doing? Fucking hire Stone Cold. You get the biggest money cash grab ever, and you can put him on your network television, man.
Yeah.
He's the fucking biggest star going, and you don't even hire him. He's a free agent.
I'm gonna admit, I love this match, although you gotta admit, the build-up to this match just made no sense whatsoever.
Oh, fuck no. It made absolutely zero sense.
So, pretty much what happened was, Stone Cold Steve Austin returned to WWE in 2003, and he kicked the crap out of Eric Bischoff. He had his match with The Rock and everything like that. And then Eric Bischoff fired him. This was obviously them doing that thing where he fired him in WCW. They were redoing that all over again and everything like that.
Yeah.
So then, Lyndon McMahon thought that Eric Bischoff was just running amok, so he needed a co-general manager. And the co-general manager ended up being Stone Cold Steve Austin. But Stone Cold Steve Austin started running amok. He just did whatever the hell he wanted. So Lyndon McMahon told him that he couldn't put his hands on any of the superstars unless he was physically provoked. And we talked about this in the SummerSlam 2003 review. Why did Stone Cold care about that? There's a Stone Cold. Why would he even care about that?
Why would he care? Yeah, it's like... I think... I guess the idea is... Stone Cold essentially was like... Because, like, this is the best way around a situation where he didn't know if he'd ever compete again. So...
I guess.
They were trying to bide time. I mean, it is interesting to see Austin try to goat people to try to fight him.
The thing is, though, what didn't work about the storyline is that then the wrestlers would put their hands on him, and we just see him attack him. So the way they should have gone about this is he should have not done physical at all before this match if they were going to do this. This honestly is an example where on Raw the storytelling just made absolutely no sense.
Oh no!
Because
yeah, of course not.
Because this match would look so much better if Stone Cold Steve Austin had not gone physical at all before this match. Because that's what made it.
Yep.
Like.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Because honestly, it makes you. And if you think about doing that, it makes your heels look. Because honestly, what was different than if Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't have to be provoked, would he just come out? He honestly, what was different? Like,
yeah, what was?
That's honestly.
I guess the idea was because he's like, maybe he was trying to save Raw, and he's like, maybe I should approach this more diplomatically than I have done in the past because this fucking guy is like, this guy actually has a lot of power, even more so than Vince or something. But it's like, bro, you literally stunned the chairman over and over and over and over again. You've been fired. You've been arrested. You've, like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is just as an example of how honestly bad Raw was sometimes, where they didn't overlook things like this.
Oh, you mean you mean the same thing that fucking Stone Cold pointed out that everybody then gave him shit for when he took his ball and went home?
Yep.
I mean, and then he just decided, you know what, it's not worth it, and fucking just keep his mouth shut, even though everything made little to zero sense on weekly television.
Yeah. So Stone Cold recruited everybody. Everyone that he recruited overall made sense. The Dudleys made sense. RVD made sense because of the alliance, even though they never mentioned it, because who wants to mention that? But that did make sense. Booker T. I guess Booker T did make sense.
Alliance.
Yeah, Alliance. And obviously, Shawn Michaels, I think, was a big one they got because obviously that's there was
a lot of history between Shawn and him. Tumultuous at best.
Yeah, both Texas boys. That's how Stone Cold Steve Austin got a start and got his big break and everything like that. So yeah, we had the match and. Just what a match it was. Everyone just starts brawling in the beginning portions of the matchup. They dominate Chris Jericho and Christian for a bit. They're really the workhorses of this match, to be honest. And that's not a discredit to anybody else in the matchup, but they were just that good. At least on the heel side, anyways. Eventually, Scott Steiner gets in, and this was... when they really just basically gave up on Scott Steiner because they screwed him up so bad when he came in and everything like that.
Oh my god, yeah. And it sucks because he was still getting a really good reaction. Like, he was still over here.
You could tell, I think he gave up a little bit because he was just not... He did the best he could, but he was
waiting to the day he could be released from his WWE contract so he could just go right to TNA in like 2 years. He was just waiting for the opportunity.
Or just going somewhere else, because TNA wasn't the big company that it would become when he left. So, he starts dominating the matchup for a bit, and he gets the Steiner recliner in onto Booker T. But Stacy Keibler gets on the apron to pump up Booker T because they were doing the storyline back then where Scott Steiner and Test were a tag team, and Stacy Keibler was stuck being the manager of Scott Steiner and Test. So she basically was trying to screw over Scott Steiner here. So
it was a weird thing. Basically, they were misogynistic assholes who...
Oh, back at that again.
Yeah. Again. So in the course of like 3 fucking segments, so we've had Orton get sexually assaulted, a BDSM fucking segment where white dudes are slaves to a black woman, which...
Yeah,
like,
all of them the same... Yeah.
And then like she gets spanked in the match, and then fucking Stacy Keibler's just basically a paid prostitute.
Yeah.
Which is kind of uncomfortable when you break it down that way. Like.
Yeah.
Vince had some fucking problems.
He did, especially at this time. I don't know what he was doing at this time. Like.
Yep.
But eventually Steiner releases the submission hold. And eventually he turns around into a bookend and gets eliminated. This made sense because everyone was balling around ringside, so that's why no one broke it up. And then immediately he gets a World's Strongest Slam by Mark Henry. I gotta say, Mark Henry would improve massively from this point. Like, he was getting better at this time, but he massively improved after this.
Yes.
The Mark Henry you saw in 2011. 2013-ish. If you had told me that was going to be Mark Henry back in 2003, I would not have believed. That's honestly how good he became.
Right.
And then the match. The heels take over the match. They dominate Rob Van Dam for a little bit, and then eventually Randy Orton hits an RKO on Rob Van Dam and eliminates him, which set up their IC title match the next month. And then I remember somebody else got eliminated. I have to look who else is in the match. Mark Henry. Mark Henry got a 3D followed by a 5-star frog splash before that. I thought
which was a great fucking elimination. Honestly, that was a really good elimination.
And then Chris Jericho actually hit some type of like Slim Blade clothesline type move on Devon Dudley. You could see why he's never done this move again because it didn't look very good. And eliminates him. And then eventually.
Oh no! It wasn't a Sling Blade clothesline. It was a sleeper drop.
It wasn't a good sleeper drop. It
was okay. It wasn't like one of the worst I've ever seen, but yeah.
And then Randy Orton hits the RKO and eliminates Bubba Ray Dudley, and it's down to Shawn Michaels versus Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, and Christian.
Yeah, this is where the match just kicks in a whole new gear here.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels does the best he can to fight them off at the beginning. He does a pretty decent job of it, but then eventually he gets slingshotted into the steel post and busted open, and they just work over the injured wound of Shawn Michaels. Eventually he makes a comeback. Shawn Michaels hits a sweet chin music on Christian and eliminates him. Eventually, him and Jericho go at it again, and this was obviously just them having matches together because they were just wrestling all over the place in 03 at WrestleMania, Chamber, at SummerSlam, and everything like that. Eventually, Michaels rolls him up and eliminates him, and this made sense why Randy Orton did break it up because it was actually a surprise, like, roll-up and everything like that, so that actually made sense. I say that because we're going to be saying that a lot in the next video, so... And I say that a lot in Survivor Series elimination type matches anyways. Let's also talk about, too, this was actually when the Survivor Series eliminations were fresh again, because there was not a Survivor Series 5-on-5 match.
In a long time.
At Survivor Series 02, because it was just the chamber match. So that was basically the Survivor Series skip. So, eventually, Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels start going at it. Randy Orton goes for the crossbody, which was the last time I think he hits this move. He hits it on... Earl Hebner. And then eventually Shawn Michaels goes for the sweet chin music. And Eric Bischoff hits a karate kick to the back of his leg. I think he was supposed to hit a low blow, but he screwed up because that did not seem like it was supposed... That looked like it was supposed to be a low blow, but it wasn't.
I think Bischoff just wanted to hit his fucking karate kick.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good karate. I'm not a karate guy, but that just did not look like a good karate.
Anyway, regardless, he did it, and then he got his ass kicked by Austin.
Was it? Now, would you say that was provoked? Because he didn't technically physically provoke him, so he technically broke his own stipulation here. So
again, it didn't. None of it matters. It was still good.
And then Shawn Michaels goes for the... Austin hits a stunner on Orton before that, and Orton sold the stunner pretty well. Like he does it rock style, and he's like against the ropes, like when Shawn has to go for the cover and everything. And then Shawn Michaels goes for the pin, and while the ref's still down, Batista hits a Batista bomb. I don't think it was called a Batista bomb back then, just a power bomb on Shawn Michaels. And he puts Randy Orton on top of Shawn Michaels. The referee makes the count, and Austin doesn't even realize this is going on. He's still brawling with Eric Bischoff. And I think Austin sold this well. When the 3 count hits, that shock that he gets on his face, he sold it.
So good. And then like his promo after, sold it even more. Him and Shawn having that one last face to face, and Shawn looks dejected, like I let you down, and Austin like you didn't let me down. You fought like tooth and nail, kid. That was really fucking cool.
JR's commentary here, by the way, was off the walls. But by the way, I might get 2 more Charlie horses. By the way, just telling you that right now.
Stop it.
I have to do this.
No, you don't! Sit like a normal person!
Anyhow, so JR's commentary here was off the walls, by the way. Just really awesome.
Really good.
They go to the back, and then Austin comes back out. I think they wanted to get his entrance again, and he's just disheveled. He's just surprised, but he cut the promo talking about basically his wrestling career, and just how he says that he's not happy about
It started in Dallas, Texas, and then in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And so he ends it with, "I love the shit out of you guys." Coachman comes out. Coachman's like, "I know you really wanted me to conduct this interview because Austin said the first person he wants to see right when he gets full control is see Coach." And he says, "How does it feel to know you're gone?" Basically, and then
Coach has like police
security's come out with Coach. They're gonna haul his ass on out of here, or so he thinks. Austin beats them all up in typical Austin fashion, and then hits one last stunner on Coach.
Yeah.
And leaves a Miller Lite right in the center of the ring, and then walks out of the Survivor Series arena.
Fantastic match, 4 3/4 stars. It was.
I actually gave it a 5, even with
that's fine.
I loved it. Here's my notes, and I have a lot of notes on this because I do want to read my notes because there's the match was so good. Watch this for yourself. Like even the notes don't do it justice here. Crowd wants Austin's team to win so bad here. Very good heat on Van Dam, which leads to into a tag to Booker. Booker hits the axe kick, uppercuts Jericho and Christian, then hits a 110 street slam on Steiner for a near fall. JR incorrectly calls it an Arn Anderson spinebuster. Because of course he does. Every spinebuster is just it's Arn Anderson, I guess. Things break down again, and Scott has a recliner in tight until Stacy stands on the apron and helps distract Scott for Devon and Bubba to hit the reverse 3D back suplex plus neckbreaker combo. Booker then hits the bookend to eliminate Scott Steiner. Mark Henry comes in and eliminates Booker with the world's strongest slam right out of the gate afterwards. Bubba then blind tags to take on Henry, but gets floored for his efforts. Just when all seemed lost, 3D on Henry and 5-star by Van Dam to get Henry eliminated. Great exchange by Jericho and Van Dam, and even better one by Orton and Van Dam. Cheating by Christian gets RKO. Gets an RKO in for RVD, which eliminates RVD. Nice diving headbutt by Devon. Bubba screaming to Devon. There was a blind tag by Jericho, and Devon was able to scout it. Really well done by those boys. I wish tag teams actually did that more often. Christian distracts the ref again, which leads to a spinning one and only, which is what I called it, which is not too far off. To eliminate Devon. That was a sleeper drop or whatever.
The move I hated.
I was alright with it. HBK gets tagged in by Bubba Ray, and Sean goes nuts on Jericho, leading to an attempted 10-count punch. Christian tries to cheat again, and Michaels hits a double axe handle onto Christian to make him a non-factor for a little bit. Hot tag to Bubba with a clothesline party, a hot shot, and a high elevated back body drop. He also hits a Samoa drop, Umaga style. Shout out to 3-minute warning. Christian cheats again, and it leads to the kill switch for the pin to eliminate Bubba. HBK is now on his own against Jericho, Christian, and Orton. Great story of HBK fighting from underneath. Great slingshot spot into the ring post, which makes HBK bleed like crazy, like an absolute stuffed pig. Only to be topped by one other man in the night. Super kick out of nowhere eliminated Christian to get him back in his cage. LOL. I'm proud of that one. Randy Orton tags in and chokes HBK, screaming, "Bleed, you son of a bitch." Who the hell would have thought HBK would be helping Stone Cold out to win in Survivor Series, is what I wrote right after that. Jericho eliminated by roll-up Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels. Jericho hits a chair shot to Shawn Michaels, and I don't know how the DQ doesn't get called here, but what a great false finish. Best of the night so far. Shawn kicks out at 2.9. Randy tries a crossbody and hits Mike Chioda as Shawn ducks. Crowd chants for Austin as Michaels gets up. Austin hits a stunner on Orton and assaults Bischoff on the outside afterwards. This is after Bischoff hits a martial arts kick on Shawn Michaels' arm. As Austin beats up Bischoff up the ramp, Batista runs through the crowd and hits a Batista bomb on HBK to end the match. Orton gets the win after the longest pinfall of his life. 5-star all day. This ruled.
For sure. Now, as for where everybody is,
Jesus.
we mentioned Chris Jericho, we mentioned Christian, we mentioned Eric Bischoff.
We mentioned Stone Cold, I believe.
We mentioned the Dudleys. The only new thing we could say about the Bubba, at least, is now he's wrestling in NWA and
Impact. Yeah, I mean that's what he's doing right now. More so in Impact. He's about to challenge Josh Alexander for the World Championship at Hard to Kill.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. Booker T. Don't know if we mentioned. No, we have mentioned Booker T. It's SummerSlam 2012.
Yes, we did.
Shawn Michaels, we mentioned in 02. We've actually mentioned in 02. So the only one we have to mention is Mark Henry and Randy Orton. As for Mark Henry, obviously he would just kind of be a typical big man until like about 06, and then they started really pushing him.
Yeah, really became like a big force in WWE for a while, although they didn't really do much with it. He would team with Big Daddy V for a bit. Then he would go on to like the early stages of what would be his Hall of Pain run. He would have a short stint with the ECW Championship, where they switched that into the fucking silver fucking bullshit. But he actually had a really good run with that belt. Tony Atlas managed him for a bit.
I don't think. I would say good one. He
had a pretty decent run. I mean, they had the one thing I remember from this fucking era of Henry with the ECW title is the Execution video package. I don't know why, but that always sticks in my head as like, yeah, this is early Science Hall of Pain. Just the way the promo was laid out. He would then go back. He would then get drafted to Raw after that short stint. He went on a weird babyface smiling gimmick thing, and he teamed with MVP for whatever reason. That kind of sucked. Then he got drafted to SmackDown again in 2012, where he kept the same gimmick for a little bit, where he was smiling, but he was a heel.
No,
right?
2011 he got drafted, and he turned heel that night in the 6-man tag.
Right, and he still kept the fucking babyface smile, and he was for a little bit, and then, like 2 weeks later, was the big ass rib that he had by Vince, because Vince is a cunt, and just made him very, very angry. I forget over what, but I think they were just stalling for time just to piss him off at a house show or whatever, and he actually got really pissed off and just finally snapped. And Vince said, "That's what I want to see," apparently. And Henry was like, "Okay, fucker. Let me do that every week then." And the rest is history. That's how the Hall of Pain run starts. And he just goes on a tear all the way up to the World Heavyweight title, where he and Big Show actually have the best fucking feud of their careers.
Well, I would say so, yeah. And then
where they broke the ring. And then they got fucked up in TLC, and then Daniel Bryan came in and swooped and stole it. And then they were like, well, we want to beat the fuck out of this little twerp. And they're like, nah. Yeah, he's like, nah, that's not.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, Mark Henry got injured because he was he had his working boots on that year. And then he came back. He didn't do much in 2012. And then 2013, he
had that awesome fucking fake retirement angle, which is still one of the all-time greats. Like, to the point where he was actually almost nominated for Emmys at one point, but WWE, for some reason, just didn't want him to do it. I have no idea why. Like, they should have been promoting this way more, honestly. Yeah. I would have even given him the fucking title for, like, a short stint and had Bryan drop it to him. Or have Henry drop it to Bryan, to be honest.
Yeah, that's how good he was, yeah.
It wouldn't have been nearly as good of a fucking match, but it would have been a good David Goliath story thing and a full circle thing for Bryan.
Especially because that's who Mark Henry wanted to have his last match with. It was with Daniel Bryan, actually.
Of course he did. So. Of course he did. And then he just kind of floundered after that. He lost his title match against Cena, and then he shaved, became bald, had a quick stint in a tag team with Big Show, and turned heel, and then that was.
You know what the funny?
He really didn't do much. He did nothing of note.
You know what the funny thing is? When he turned heel, Big Show turned heel shortly after that.
I couldn't.
Because that's
Like, why do they just fucking start pushes with Henry? I never understood it, but yeah, at least he had his moment in the sun, which is good.
And then he retired in 2016, and then he kind of did panelists. And
Now he's in AEW.
Yeah.
I swear I thought we said we weren't going to do these whole retrospective shit anymore. Didn't we?
Well, we're into it now, so.
Yeah, fuck it. Alright, and then who's the last one?
Randy Orton.
Well, Randy Orton at this point, we had to have covered him at some point, even if it wasn't in one of the recent reviews this year.
The only thing I'll say is just because we have never talked about this before, Randy Orton pretty much has become Mr. Survivor Series. He would always get into the 5-on-5 elimination matches.
Always was the sole survivor of his team, actually, the last 3 years.
And if not the sole survivor, at least like the last guy to go out before.
Well, actually, we say that, but then 2006 was when he got jobbed out. If you remember that debauchery.
So, he was still the last guy to be eliminated off his team, so that's something. So.
Whatever.
Wait,
him and Cena had a match, I think, or no, it was him and HBK. I don't remember. He won that match. He has a pretty good Survivor Series record. There you go. That's all I need to know.
Stacy Keibler, her became a thing in like 2004, and then pretty much after Randy Orton RKO, her career was over in wrestling pretty much, and then she became a model and an actress. Teddy Long, we definitely covered Teddy. I know we've covered
Tag team match player.
By the way, I imagine he was probably loving watching this tag match as much as he probably would have given this match like 7. He probably gave this match like 7 stars.
Yeah. If he was running the Wrestling Observer, he'd give all tag matches 7 stars. How it is.
I bet he was so mad when he had to leave ringside. He was like, when Henry got eliminated. I bet he wanted to stick around.
I want to see the tag team match, player.
You can just and then you could just watch it backstage, but I think he wanted to be there live and everything. But,
yeah.
Next match was Vince McMahon versus The Undertaker in a Buried Alive match. Build up to this match, World Soul. I couldn't believe that they hadn't had a match together in like 13 years with how synonymous they both were with each other. But pretty much at No Mercy, they were kind of teasing the match, but No Mercy is where it really started building to it. Was Vince McMahon cost The Undertaker the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar. And Vince McMahon told The Undertaker that as long as he was breathing in and out, he would never hold the WWE Championship. And Undertaker really wanted to be a 5-time WWE Champion. So Undertaker realized that the only way to do it was to face Vince McMahon in a Buried Alive match. Taker had a match on SmackDown where if he won, he could pick his opponent at Survivor Series. And Vince thought he was going to pick Brock, but he ended up picking Vince. And I like how they made this just showed how long-term Heyman thought about things. It was actually, in a sense, Vince's fault, and Michael Cole was good to point this out during the match. Vince's fault he was in this match because he had Stephanie McMahon quit being the GM of SmackDown, and because Heyman was the GM, he had booked that match where Taker got to pick the stipulate, so it all connected. It was basically Vince's fault that he was in this match, so I liked how they did that.
Yeah, it was really good.
And then Vince McMahon believed that there was some type of higher power looking out for him because he was doing all these bad things to people and somehow always got out of it unscathed, which I wonder if they added that part of the storyline because of the whole higher power angle that they were in together. And I loved how they were just putting up all the history that they had together when Vince had Taker get arrested. And other things that happened, like during the Attitude Era portion of Taker's career and stuff. I thought that was really good stuff. And yeah, basically Undertaker said that Vince McMahon was going to have to be finally viable to his actions, and then Vince McMahon basically became a born-again Christian.
A weird, fucked up version of it, yeah.
And we talked about this off the air, but other than like 1998, I think this was probably the best run of Vince as a heel.
Yeah, Vince as a heel. Like, he had, like, if you really break it down, like, in his 2002... Actually, if you really... I'd even go as far as to say everything up from 2002, right at the beginning of January, all the way up... Basically, no. I'll even say right after the Alliance bullshit ended. From
Yeah.
late 01 all the way up to this point in 03, best heel work of his career. Because
Yeah.
he had that awesome street fight with Flair. He had the fucking great fucking promos on Taker and the like, and just the lethal dose of poison for all the memes. His fucking feud with Hogan, even the fucking comedy bits with Mr. America and that whole bullshit.
Yeah.
That was fucking funny. But like even the 20 years in the making street fight build was really well done, like really really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
his feud with Jack, even though it was uncomfortable at times, his feud with Jack Allen and Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah. Just and then right up here, like if you want a guy that you wanted to see get his ass kicked, Vince knew how to play his part well. I will say that probably because he was probably because he was just playing an exaggerated version of himself. But you know,
and yeah, this feud has the infamous quote where Vince McMahon threatens to have the Undertaker's his wife, but his family also like raped and murdered by a motorcycle gang, and this has become like a big meme.
In our group. For the record, this is out of the Peacock edit. They edited this out in the promo. It is not on that promo, but it is on commentary.
Yeah,
Michael Cole is heard mentioning it on commentary, so they left that bit in, but they did not leave it in the promo.
I honestly never even thought that they even mentioned it. I thought that was just going to be a thing that they never mentioned. I didn't even realize they mentioned it on commentary when I saw it. When I heard Michael Cole say that, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, right.
But before the match,
they made him sound like a bastard that deserved everything that Taker was dishing out, basically, and you love to see it, type of thing.
Yeah. So during the match. Before the match, anyways, Taz gives his keys to victory of how you think he can win this.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait a minute, Taz, AEW move breakdown? What the hell is going on? But so Taz's keys to victory. You want to read them off? So for
the Undertaker, and I love how it's written like how Taz would say it. Why don't you say them? Because I don't
have them in front of me.
I'll read them to you, and you can just do it in Taz impersonation. Can you do a good Taz impersonation?
All right, good, yeah, so, yeah.
All those evil submissions.
All those big evil submissions, right, Cole?
Home field advantage.
The home field advantage is right here in his Texas state. Even though he used to be from Death Valley, Cole, I don't know where he's actually from, but I think he's got a hotel. He's got like a real estate here. He's really popular here in Texas, you know?
By the way, Taz, how does submissions help in this type of match when the point is to bury him alive?
It wears your opponent down, dummy.
Match experience.
Well, you see, I didn't think this one through, Cole, because, well, he's lost every single one.
No, he's 1-1. He's 1-1.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's 1-1, but I don't know if that was before or after this, Cole, so I got nothing. I just put that in there because it makes sense.
All right, here's Vince's. You gotta say. By the way, you gotta say Vince's key. Here's Vince's keys to victory and the Taz impression, obviously too.
Yep. Go ahead.
His mental stability.
Yeah, you know, his mental stability. He's got a few screw loose. You know, Cole, like, I don't know about Vince McMahon. He always gives me the EBGBs, you know? Like, I see this guy and he comes in there. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's like if a man-child was in an adult body and the adult body was, like, right out of Hasbro Toy Factory, man. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And he thinks he's some religious nut, right? You can't spell nutrition without nut, right, Cole?
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
You didn't think I was going to be able to circle back that? Go to the next one.
His invincible confidence.
Invincible! You see what I did there, Cole? Right, invincible, get it? Invincible Jones over here.
Here's the kicker. Here's the next one. Avoid the hole.
Oh, yeah. The greatest thing, the greatest advice I could give for something like this: avoid the hole. No shit, Taz. Okay, there, Sherlock. What are you getting all snippy with me for? Like, isn't the point of the match, Taz, to avoid the hole? Yeah, it is. All right, well, listen, fuckhead.
Like, how does... I don't know why they didn't keep doing these, because they were just hilarious.
They're so
You know what?
obvious.
Just for this alone, whatever star rating I gave this match, it's going up a quarter star
Oh,
rating.
fucking Christ. All right, fine, I'll go with it.
Not that we never did impressions, how much worse we would view wrestling. Like, it would be... Think about it.
You're saying this is good? We're already past the 2-hour, 15-minute mark at this point. Oh, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
I think we're just fucking around at this point. Luckily, we have no more biographies or whatever.
This is Survivor Series fault. This is that Evolution backstage segment. If that segment never happened, we would have been done by now.
That is true. That is true.
But that's what, because the show went downhill after that. But
so yeah, I said nice. Taz's keys to victory is pretty entertaining. LOL. I said final Undertaker American Badass / Big Evil entrance.
I'm surprised he didn't come up with the motorcycle, since it was going to be like his last
right.
time.
I guess it just couldn't fit it in. They had a lot of vehicles, to be fair. They had a lot. They had They had the fucking payloader. They had the ambulance.
So Vince McMahon comes out and he's got his hands folded like this, like he's gonna pray. He prays in the corner, which I honestly, even though I've seen this match like 4 times in my life, it's the sight of Vince McMahon praying always surprises me every time I see it.
Yeah,
like
right. Yeah, it was him praying for all the sins he's gonna be convicted for later by federal courts. Anyway, real quick, before you get to your notes, I'm just going to go through my notes. They're very quick. Taker just begins by beating Vince to a bloody pulp after the first shot. McMahon gets his bloody ass kicked by Taker. Can't say Vince didn't do his part here. Taker screams, "God can't help you now, bitch." Good line. What a brutal shovel shot onto McMahon, unprotected, mind you. Christ. Finally, dirt into the eyes, low blow, and shovel to the face. The only offense of Vince's all match. Pyro Cam blows up to the door of the payloader, and Vince McMahon buries the Undertaker alive after a few weeks strikes. Lame.
By the way, before we talk about this match, there's one thing that sucks about the Austin match, by the way, that we didn't talk about, because it actually shows how bad of a show Raw was. There's 2 things that happened that kind of ruined the match a little bit. One, they brought in Mick Foley as a co-general manager a couple weeks later. I forgot about that. And 2, going into WrestleMania, Austin was just back in charge as the sheriff anyways. So it was really stupid.
Oh yeah, and then they had that Raw SmackDown thing where he just beats the shit out of a bunch of SmackDown guys.
You know what the funny thing is? At least it was temporary. Remember, I know we'll do a retro of it someday. At least it wasn't as bad as when they did the Authority match at Survivor Series 2014, and we thought the Authority were gone for. Not only was the Authority back, but they just did the other stipulation where they fired everyone on Cena's team anyway. So it's as if the match didn't even matter anyways. Like,
yeah,
but we'll talk about that next year. Anyhow, so going through the match, Undertaker immediately starts the match with a right hand on Vince, and Vince just gets busted open, like he's just pouring blood, and there's already a lot of blood in the ring from Shawn Michaels anyways. There's just more at this point.
Yeah, just Vince gushes here. I'm pretty sure he got injured because of this somehow, because dude, he cut deep, bro. Like it almost looked like he cut an artery. That's how much he was bleeding. Like it was actually disgusting.
A lot of people give John Moxley shit for bleeding. Like, this is like nothing compared to what Vince does here.
Yeah, if anything, John Moxley, we know, was actually safer with it.
Yeah. And then Taker just starts exploding on right hands on Vince, just destroying him. He eventually takes him to the outside. He bounces him head first off the announce table, the SmackDown announce table, because the Spanish one had already been destroyed. He hits him off the head with an old school monitor. Throws him head first into the steps. He pulls him groin first into the steel post. He goes up to the grave. He grabs a shovel and just wallops Vince off the head with the shovel. Eventually, he just takes him over to the steps and he dismantles them. And he takes the top part of the steps and just drives it into Vince's knee. Like,
yeah, and then like Taz is actually almost about to puke at the sight of it.
Yeah, because he's like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince like legitimately injured himself here too. Like,
no, Vince is crazy enough to be like, actually injure me, Mark. What?
Yeah.
Actually injure me, and I'm like, no, Vince, you're a fucking nutcase. I'm not gonna actually injure you. Sell the realness, damn it.
Yeah. And then Taker carries him to the grave. Vince throws dirt in his eyes. He low blows him, hits him in the chest with the shovel. I don't know if he actually like legitimately broke like Undertaker's shoulder or something, because he didn't have much use of his right arm after that, really. And then eventually there's no shovels for Vince to go after because he used one himself, and it fell into the grave, and there was the other one was all the way ringside. There was no way Vince was going to be able to go get it. So Taker pulls Vince into the grave. He goes up on this tractor to bury Vince McMahon alive. Then this explosion goes off. Taker falls off the tractor. Kane shows up. Even when I saw this as a kid, I knew this was Kane instantly, just because of...
Because it's fire and pyro and Kane, and then Kane just hits him with the weakest fucking uppercuts ever to send him into the grave. And it takes ages for Vince to fucking lift up this goddamn payloader.
Yeah. And then, I think the only critique I actually have with the match, honestly, is I feel like
no chokeslam.
Yeah, no chokeslam into the grave. You could have easily worked that spot in there. Undertaker is buried alive. This was the end of the American Badass gimmick until 2020, when he had like a hybrid of the Dead Man Badass gimmick doing the Boneyard match with AJ Styles.
Honestly, and honest to God, that's probably the best way he could have retired, because it literally was all his personas into one, and I don't think you could have gotten a better match out of Taker at that point. That was the best swan song you could have gotten for him. Especially
with how the match ended, with him just riding off.
That was so good. That was so good, yeah. So it was one of the few fucking matches that I absolutely shit on, that I look back on and was like, alright, you know what? It was a sign of the times, and it actually made sense for his gimmick.
Now the question I had it not been his last match, would you have I'm not saying... If you had known that was going to be his last match going in, if you could, would you have been more accepting of that match?
Yes, probably. Yeah, I probably would have. I still think his final match should have just been when he lost the streak.
Everyone does, yeah.
Or at the very least, if he wanted to compete for a little longer, the final time he lost to Brock at Hell in a Cell.
No, probably at Mania in Dallas, it should have been his last match.
Right.
Since, it's in Dallas.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been against Shane McMahon, of all fucking people.
Yeah, it probably should have been against
Wyatt.
Cena.
Just do the fucking Wyatt match over again. They really should have just inverted the fucking two, honestly.
Yeah. They should have done... If we're talking about... They should have done Sting at 31 and Wyatt at 32. The only thing I worry about is, because it's WWE at that time, they sucked at booking Bray Wyatt back then, so who's to say?
Yeah, honestly, don't even bring it up. Who cares?
But anyhow, this led the Kane burying the Undertaker alive led to the match at Mania. You could make the argument that's where Kane's character really shit the bed. The fact that he got squashed by Taker.
Yep. So, why even is Kane fucking fighting Taker? Like, again, there was like no rhyme or reason for it.
Well, the reason he gave that he buried Taker was he thought he had become a human but doing the American Badass gimmick. Like, the brother that he saw when they were younger was not the monster that he knew when he came to the WWF and everything like that. So It did work in a way, but it was also weird because he was also like teaming up with Taker a little bit during that time. So,
Yeah, I don't even know.
it felt like
Whatever.
Something tells me when they did the storyline, Heyman started writing it, but then what happened is it became a Raw storyline, so it kind of sucked when it went on Raw, if you noticed. But yeah, I thought this was really good. Well, I thought this was pretty good. I thought, I liked what they did here. It was a really good spectacle. I give it 3.25, but because of the Taz impressions, we're upping it to 3.5. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1.25 just for the impressions, for the fun.
I can't believe
it was a 1-star match, but it was a spectacle, is what I wrote.
Yeah. I still can't believe I was expecting you were gonna rate this so much higher because we talked about this off here just because of your hatred of Vince and everything.
Yeah,
but.
no.
Then we had the main event. It was the. By the way, you could definitely tell this show was edited on Peacock. Like there was ads and stuff in between matches because the
Armageddon. Yeah, there was the Armageddon ad actually. One of the ads was a preview for Armageddon.
So there you go.
And then so I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. So then we had the main event. It was the World Heavyweight Championship match. It was Goldberg defending against Triple H. This was obviously coming out of SummerSlam when Triple H nearly ended Goldberg's career, both kayfabe and literally. And they tried to make up for it by having him win the World Heavyweight Championship at Unforgiven, the way he should have won it to begin with, but the damage had kind of been done. They didn't really save it that much, but Goldberg became the World Heavyweight Champion, and Triple H put a $1,000 bounty on Goldberg if anyone could take him out. Which I was okay with that, I guess, but I always hate it when like you bring money into wrestling, just because of the fact that like I remember NWA, for example, likes to do matches where you win $10,000. It's like, isn't that the whole point sometimes of fighting anyways, like for money? But whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, in fairness though, this made sense because that means you get a huge payout as opposed to little that you get from actually competing in the ring. So, like, that. Which, by the way, fun fact, this is actually how Batista got introduced to Evolution.
No, this is when he returned from remember, he was out due to an injury, so he was returning here.
Oh, that's right. What the fuck? That's so weird, because you'd think it would be a debut.
Yeah,
I always forget he debuted earlier with the group.
Yeah. But yeah, he returns, and if you think about it, Triple H really gets the money anyways because he's with Batista, so most likely he made out for that deal anyways. So it ended up working out. So the part that's cut is when doing a match with Batista, Triple H tries to come out and hook Goldberg some more, but Goldberg. This is actually pretty. I think that's just got a lot of people worried because Goldberg actually stood tall on the Go Home show, so I think everyone assumed that Triple H was probably going to win the belt back. Because if you remember, too, I think Triple H was still fighting his groin injury. So I think the only reason Goldberg even won the belt to begin with was so Triple H could rest for a few weeks.
Yes, exactly that, unfortunately.
So I think I wouldn't be shocked if, like, Meltzer and everybody like that thought Triple H was just going to win the belt back. Because I think about it like this, too. This was not long after he married into the family, too. So that's obviously something to think about right there. Because I think him and Steph get married in like October of this year. So honestly, I think the only reason he even lost the belt was injury and probably for his red.
Oh, and then Flair. So basically Flair was having a fucking actual bachelor party and they had a fucking segment on the air. Oh, that all makes sense now. Jesus Christ. There you go, yeah. Jesus Christ.
So the match starts. Goldberg spears Triple H before the match even starts and hits all his moves on him. And I was kind of thinking to myself when I saw this, like, this is kind of it for Goldberg here. Like, he can't really do much. Like, that's basically his moveset right there. It's the spear. The only thing he didn't hit was the jackhammer. Really.
No, he did. He hit the jackhammer eventually.
Well, not in the beginning of the match.
No.
And then eventually, Triple H starts targeting the leg of Goldberg. Eventually, behind the referee's back, he takes a blue steel chair and hits Goldberg off the leg on the steps with it, which was a cool spot, but it was just like Vince and Taker did it better in the match before this. I thought they could.
It was still brutal. It was still brutal, so I give it like a pass. It was alright.
Yeah. And then Triple H works over the knee forever on Goldberg. And then eventually, the referee goes down. And behind the ref's back, as Goldberg's making his comeback, Goldberg just starts taking out Triple H and Flair. Flair goes to the top turnbuckle. And you know when he goes there, he ain't hit nothing. So,
yeah, he gets fucking back body drop, man. It's rinse and repeat all the time.
And then Goldberg gets the slug hammer. Each member of Evolution tries to interfere in the matchup, but they all get laid out with slug hammers. At one point, Batista comes in, and JR botches and says, "That's Orton," and then he's like, "No, that's Batista." And then when Orton actually comes out, like JR screams loudly, "Oh, there's the Legend Killer!" Like he was trying to like he was like ribbing JR right there. It was kind of funny. Sort of. I don't know. It feels like it was like funny, but it was also like Vince in his ear trying to say, "That's Batista right there."
It is what it is.
But anyhow, eventually Goldberg hits a spear and a jackhammer onto Triple H and retains the World Heavyweight Championship. I gave the match like 2 stars. It really wasn't like a bad match or anything. But it had
I actually gave it a 3 because it was actually a good change of pace than what we usually see out of Goldberg, to be fair.
Yeah.
In a vacuum.
I give it 2. I really first the reason I didn't like it as much as you did is it main evented. Should not have main evented. It
I agree.
It should have been Team Austin versus Team Bischoff, but I think Triple H pulled some backstage politics right there.
Mm-hmm.
And second, is it was just kind of like a little bit of a flat match. Really, not much happened. And I think the other reason I really wasn't like buying this matchup was it just didn't play into Goldberg's strengths really. Vince McMahon back then, like, a lot of people talk about in, like, this is the reason, by the way, that, like, a lot of people complained about The Fiend jobbing out. We talked about it in the SummerSlam. Had Vince McMahon just got Goldberg right from in his first run, we wouldn't have had those problems that we had with Goldberg later on. Like,
yeah.
So,
like, if he'd have gotten Goldberg right all the way up until this point, and then they do this type of match, man, it would have way more impact if you think about it, too.
Yeah. Also, too, Goldberg might not have even left WWE to begin with, too.
Right.
He might have
because he would have been fucking strong. He would have been protected.
Yeah.
That ultimately was the problem. Like, he should have won at the Chamber. He also should have been protected way better.
Yeah. After this, the only thing I'll say about it was the next pay-per-view is when Evolution gets all the belts. And which was that's a good thing for Evolution. It was good that they got all the belts, but it was also a disservice to Goldberg.
Really, also a really iconic set, that Armageddon set.
Yeah.
Underrated,
but it was also
that one.
It was. It also was a disservice to Goldberg because of the fact that, he took the loss in the match and was a kind of honestly, like, to think about it, if you really think about it, I feel like because we knew who Goldberg was in Brock, if you never watched WCW, you would have honestly thought Goldberg was the biggest trump going up against Brock Lesnar with the way he was booked on Raw. Honestly, I'm not joking. That was honestly how bad they were booking Brock Goldberg. Like, you would think, like, it was just so bad.
Yeah, they didn't do good. Ever since from the Rock feud, after the Rock and Jericho feuds, like, they did not know how to book him.
Yeah, I don't even.
And even then, they kind of bungled that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's Survivor Series 2003. This is a great show right here.
I actually, by the way, I wrote for the main event. Thought it would be a nothing burger, but it actually did well with the limitations they had. For some goddamn reason, though, they dub over the damn WWE rendition of his theme and went with the WCW theme for whatever reason. Crowd is somewhat into this. They keep getting louder, actually, is what I wrote, which is fair.
Yeah,
enough.
they did.
JR and King are having to cover for Greenberg for not grabbing the bottom rope on a half crab.
Yeah.
That was a thing. Really not bad selling by Bill when he finally does. 3 stars, really good job, surprised. But still shouldn't have been the main event. Overall, an A- effort on the show. Main event wasn't bad. Tag team was meh, kinda, but it was still pretty good. Everything else was solid up to great.
Yeah, I'll give this thing like a an A minus. The only thing that it's really just the main event that drags it down for me. Everything else, pretty much is spot on, pretty much.
Yep.
And boy, remember how we do these 10 years perspective? And our perspective's going to be different when we do Survivor Series 2013.
Oh boy!
I might let you host. I might let you host that one because I have a feeling like you're just not going to be able to be contained when you do that one. So,
well, I did say I do retros, and if you want to see me get angry at a
when's the last time we've had
past retro show, go for it.
When's the last time you've had like a rant like you're gonna have tomorrow? Like I know it's been.
I think it was probably the AEW bullshit. So whenever that Spark episode was, that would have been the last. That would have been the last time I vented or ranted about anything wrestling on FTW Productions. But the reason why I'm gonna be ranting about it is because it's still. I wanna end the debate once and for all on that episode that they had any fucking plan to give the belt to Danielson, because when you see this show, you can clearly tell that was not the direction they wanted to go in, despite the fans saying go this way. Vince is like, I want to go this way.
Save it for tomorrow. Save that for tomorrow.
So yeah, get ready, because I'm about to fucking. My name is Louie, and I'm about to slap a bitch. If you don't get the joke, it's a Mistress Audio thing.
So, yeah, are you cool with hosting them all? Because I feel like that needs to be your thing.
Yeah, why not? What? Yeah, is that when we're recording that shit tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh boy, what time?
The same time.
Cool. Alright, well, let's do our plugs then, quickly. You know what? Everything is in the description. We've already gone long enough, and I kind of want to keep it to before it gets to 2 hour 40-minute mark. So everything in the description. Everything in the iCards.
Don't worry, we'll get to 2 hours and 15 minutes someday. So.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, we did in the fucking Nikos review. I think it's just because anytime you and I, it's like a fucking brain, it's like a brain cell just fucking comes out of nowhere. It's like fucking bouncing back and forth. And plus, maybe the fact that you got 2 Charlie horses in the beginning as well.
No, too, yeah. Yeah, that didn't help.
Yeah, and the evolution thing. Yeah, we just find the fucking things funny. Hey, it is what it is, man.
I'm never gonna hear the end of that Charlie horse thing ever.
No, you won't, because that's fucking funny. But yeah, check out Owen the Talkinator, because we're going to be starting that shit relatively soon, probably by next month in December, as well as check out Noah, iCard here. Noah has just debuted Simply Predicting, which is a collaborative effort by FTW Productions, No DQ, and the Jeff Meacham Network, all kind of combined in that one little thing. So go check out that show, and also check out his Return of a Simple Take, where he runs down the New Japan Pro Wrestling Stardom crossover, the AEW Full Gear, and Impact Overdrive all in the same video. Go check that out. It's really good. I'm so glad that's back, and with a new intro for both shows.
I'm making the announcement now. Either the day after, the Monday after, or the weekend after Survivor Series that week, I'm launching that WWE Aftershock, the first episode.
Let's go. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's already set and ready to go. Cool.
So, I'm watching it.
So, WWE Aftershock, you'll probably see that premiere on Tuesday. So, after Raw, but it will be recorded on Monday. So, be on the lookout for that WWE Aftershock debuting soon. Check that out. And also, check out Mike's Let's Plays right here. He just been playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from EA Games. Go check that out. It's really fun. We've had a blast on episode 2. Hopefully, we're hoping to record episode 3, so go check that out. As well as stay tuned for another Let's Play probably around next week, where I will be doing part 3 of the Revenge mode of WrestleMania 19. And also...
I missed part 2.
Yeah, you did. and part 2 of the NASCAR Thunder season mode. So go check those out. And also check out my girl Mistress Audio and her recent videos. Finally a part of the FTW Productions family. She just released a new video with the FTW Productions video right in the beginning. So go check that shit out. And I don't think I have anything left to plug. So take us home.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll talk to you guys later. And since this is being recorded in the past, we'll talk to you in the future. And I got another Charlie horse, so there you go.
Start with the Charlie horse, end with the Charlie horse. Good night, everybody.
We doing all the classics, you heard it, then I grabbed it. Flow like Method Man, then run like I'm Rabbit. Soon as I hear the bass line, it be my FaceTime. Music's in my veins, so just in case I'm without my iPod or a media player, I'll check my